down? We gotta go lay down. Morty? Okay, lay down. Lay down. Welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How is everybody doing tonight? Shout out to the replay gang. If you did not watch this live, well, I thank you so much for coming back, but you missed the party. You missed the best part of this show. Don't worry, you're still going to enjoy it very, 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 very much. But just make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. And just like last night, sometimes I stream whenever I want to. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, notifications, all that good stuff. You know how it goes. And let's get started real quick. Just want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the stream, MySickShirt.com. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, the only place to get your very own official The Indian Jesus merch. Only at MySickShirt.com. All right, what is going on? We got Divine and Rod in the building. Lalo's here, early gang. Shout out to the early gang. So tonight is definitely going to be based on things that we were talking about yesterday. So I see right now we have in the poll, I'm going to leave that up for a minute, 50-50 that you watched last night's stream. So if you haven't watched last night's stream, on that's why I capitalized my. I assume you still are aware of the whole Ye leaving the Timcast episode thing. I mean, I went to the World Cup '94 with my dad and my brother. My dad's a big soccer fan. I don't really follow any sports but MMA and specifically UFC. Is America doing well? What's going on with that? So yeah, if you didn't watch yesterday's stream, that's fine, because I'm sure you're aware of the fact that Kanye was on Timcast, and 20 minutes in, he just got up and left. So there was a lot that we were speculating about. And we were, just as to what was going on. Why did this all happen? What exactly, a lot of big personalities, big egos in the same building, in the same room. And so we were speculating that, Milo was pulling the strings, and he is looking to get some kind of clout, get some or perhaps some type of revenge on Donald Trump. So again, we talked about this in depth yesterday, and this is exactly why I wanted to come on yesterday and not push this until today, because there's so much more that's coming up. So let's start with the actual, Tim's actual solo segment, the one he posted this morning. So he's talking about so from 9 hours ago. So we are right keeping up with the news. And guys, if you could do me a huge favor, if you haven't done already, please hit that like button. Let's get into it.
If there's anything I regret about Monday, it's not how anything went down with Ye or Milo or Fuentes necessarily. I mean, it went as well as anyone could have expected it to go. But what I do regret is not foreseeing being the news. I knew that to a
You guys
certain
can
degree
hear
we
it,
were
right?
going to get press and journalists. And I was like, we're going to talk about these guys are the news. And all of a sudden, we end up like latched to the orbit of the story. And I'll just say, I think moving forward, I'm never going to do anything like that again. I'll explain. Basically,
So Tim saying, I'm never going to do something like this again. Did I miss lights? Hold on one second. Oh, man. Struggle streaming. I missed my lights. I need my lights. Hold on one second. Oh, we got to make it pretty in here. I knew it looked off. There we go. Now it's popping. So this is not the first time. Oh, see, I got to get one of those carpets for this. This is not the first time that a guest on Timcast has, caused trouble. This is not the first time that a rapper has been the one to cause trouble on Timcast IRL. You guys remember Rahman or R.A. Man? Rahman? I don't know. I'm not really familiar. I just know him from Timcast, obviously. Okay. But he, was denying all everything that Tim was talking about when he was younger, experiencing racism, being from a mixed family, and not really fitting in with white people, not really fitting in with other minorities because he was half white, so on and so forth. And this guy was just like, "Nah, that didn't happen." It's like, bro, how are you? What is this whole thing about? Like, you don't know my experience, so to any person who's saying, "Oh, the black struggle is not this," that was the context of it. And then the guy turns around and says, "No, your experiences are invalid." So when he says, "I'm not going to do anything like that again," what he's talking about is bringing on personalities that he doesn't know for sure that he can that he can handle, as well as somebody who's willing to stick with the structure of the show. No freedoms. I'm sure he's going to pop in. Was talking about how, Tim definitely made an exception for 2 weeks ago when Milo was on by himself, and it wasn't very conversational, and it was just Milo talking a lot. So perhaps Tim should have been a bit more prepared for that type of thing. But it was too quick. It was too quick. There was just not enough time to get into anything. And that's why he's saying, I'm not doing anything like that ever again. Continuing.
having guests on that are this high profile in the media, this was the biggest story in the country. Donald Trump, Fuentes, why did it happen? How did it happen? And I said, well, we have an opportunity to actually hear firsthand how it happened. And I don't care that Ye stormed out or whatever. I'm not mad. Milo texted me, and that's what we'll talk about. We'll talk about, was this a plot to smear Trump? And maybe Milo's is not.
So that was basically the meat and potatoes of my conclusion. What my speculation was, that I think that whole thing was set up by Milo to make Trump look bad. There may be more, there may be, nuance to that, but that is what stood out to me based on a number of different things. Again, go check out the stream from yesterday, but basically how he has been flip-flopping on a lot of different issues that you don't really, aren't really the types of things that you flop on very easily. He was very, what's the word? let's say, opportunistic, according to Lauren Southern in the manifesto that she did a couple months ago. So that is what I think happened. But again, we've got a lot more here. So let's maybe see if we can form a little bit better of a theory
Talk about that. But
or a hypothesis.
it's just the drama. I'll talk about it a little bit because I normally don't like addressing political commentary. Trying to move my throat. I don't like
I
addressing
said, shit, me too.
nonsensical WWE style internet blood sport type thing. You know, we like to talk about what's going on in the news. Here's the issue. I kind of have to talk about myself now in drama because this is the news story. And you know what I was going to do is I pulled up right now. Nick Fuentes is trending 100,000 tweets out. I pulled up some stories trying to break down what's going on with Trump, and of course it involves me in that we want to understand, was Donald Trump set up by Milo Yiannopoulos, Jay, and Fuentes? And according to a statement from NBC News yesterday, the answer is yes. Fuentes is denying this after this morning, saying that, or it's being reported right now, it was not part of a plot and who loves. I love Donald Trump. And then we have what I think makes politics very, very difficult. And
If you love Donald Trump, then why are you working with the people who he has scorned and are specifically, according to Milo's own words, looking for vengeance?
a horrible place. That's the young term. Normally, I
Oh,
care about things.
jeez.
I don't care. But I think there's an interesting thing happening that normally I would want to talk about. So happens to be that I'm in the middle of it. And that is that simultaneously you have the diehard Marco Pike attacking me saying I didn't do a real interview. And then you have the vegetarian left attacking me saying I didn't do a real interview.
Yep.
And it's interesting how, to a certain degree, their opinions are very, very much the same. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. I don't mean in a sense that like they believe politically the same things. Everything. I'm saying that they're all mad about how this went down, and it is for similar reasons, I guess. I don't know.
I very much can commiserate with Tim here in the sense that everybody is so hyper polarized that if you aren't going balls to the wall on something, then there's going to be a whole group of people who think you didn't go hard enough, and there's going to be a whole group of people who think you went too hard. Because everybody thinks they have the perfect exact what they would do in that exact situation, and it's a live show. We don't know what's going to happen, and I think that is what really attracts me to watching Tim's content, is because he's very much true to his principles and middle of the road. You may not always agree with him. He may not always have the best reasoning, but he is very open with what that reasoning is, and is very open to criticism.
I didn't do a good enough job. It wasn't a real interview or something like that. But I don't care about what they think. It's not going to change.
They? Who's
the way
they?
I address people. What I will say is, it's not about what they think. It's about, look, the reason I stopped doing field coverage on the ground, I used to go on the ground report, is because I started becoming the story. And then you get people claiming that's the goal, and I'm like, not really. You go out with the camera to film, and then people start coming up to you, either thanking you or insulting you. You can't actually do anything. It's impossible to actually get the story and figure out what's going on when everyone's coming up to you and oh. And so I'm like, maybe doing the press for mistake, doing magazines and stuff. But I just want to say that, get off my chest, I guess. So, like, I'm not trying to do a Joe Rogan show. You get people who are like, Tim Pool wants to be Joe Rogan. No, I want to talk about news. Joe has conversations. We have.
That's another thing I hear all the time. Oh, Tim just wants to do. Like, bro, I'm not like. First of all, I don't care if Tim continues to deliver the news in a way that I can understand his biases and I can understand what's going on in the world. Then I don't really care what it is his motivations are, because he's upfront and honest about them.
Have a multi-person conversational topical news show with a rotating guest. Well, let's talk about what's going on right now with Trump, and I'll tell you what I understand to be happening because, as I said, like Nick Fuentes is probably the biggest story in the country right now, along with Trump for obvious reasons, and I'm privy to certain information that I should probably highlight as much as I would prefer. I tried looking at other stories, man. I was thinking of pulling up like Wayne Wade, New York Times, Security Blockers, Time in New York, and I'm like, this is a big story. I like to do big stories for 10 a.m. I like to do like what's happening. Forgive my rambling. Newsweek reports Fuentes denies being part of a Trump plot.
So remember where the Timcast IRL podcast went off the rails was Tim asking about what happened at the dinner. We care about what happened at the dinner. What was that conversation like? But Kanye wanted to dive right into the anti-Semitism stuff. Hey, we got Johnny in the building. Welcome. What is going on, brother? Glad you are here. We got more information.
Messaging at Telegram on Tuesday in response to an NBC News report that said far-right commentator MILO Yiannopoulos had created a trap for Trump. That trap was reportedly a dinner at Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence. So let me just pull up the story from NBC News, the inside story of Trump's explosive dinner with Ye and Nick Fuentes.
It's only explosive because the people themselves wouldn't sit and talk about it.
What was supposed to be a private dinner ended up being a political nightmare. Yeah, interesting. There's Ye, with the red hat on with Donald Trump. Hey, there's Jared Kushner. I think Ye's faking. I think he's distressed. I think he was stressed.
That's a claim. I think Tim says Ye is faking it. I think he is getting played by Milo. But very little information. So let's see.
That's that for a variety of reasons. I don't know why you wanted to do my show. He's going through divorce. He mentioned that in the pre-show. He's saying that they're trying to figure out how to get his kids, but
So this is where you guys know I like to give you a little bit extra context, even if we take some time to watch some stuff that's not completely relevant. But now we're starting to get some more background information about what happened before, what happened during, and what happened after.
Just he's in a divorce. He mentioned on the show that they're trying to put him in prison because they're saying he owes a lot of taxes and stuff like that. Dude's probably stressed out. But
Probably.
I think there's a loose plan to actually do it. I don't know if he's like mapped out and said, here's the moves we're gonna make. I think his moves are deliberate. Now I'll scroll down and get right to we hear this. Master troll got trolled. And then I'll jump to these quotes. Yiannopoulos said Fuentes is serving in an advisory capacity for Ye. Giorno is not an official member of the unofficial Ye campaign, but flew to LA to meet with them. Quote, I wanted to show Trump the kind of talent that he's missing out on by allowing his terrible handlers to take who he can and get out.
So this is Milo again saying, I wanted to show Trump at the dinner. I wanted to show Trump the kind of talent he's missing out on. You know, one of the biggest complaints that people have from the Republicans about Trump was who he had around him. You know, I mean, names are escaping me, but there's so many people that, number one is Dr. We're a minute close to the 20-minute mark. I don't know if that's a real thing, but Dr. effing Fauci. That was all Trump. So that's been missing out on kind of talent he's missing out on by allowing his terrible handlers, again, we got to come back to this word handlers, to dictate who he can and can't hang out with. So this is Milo talking about why he wanted to go to the dinner.
I also wanted to send a message to Trump that he has systematically, repeatedly neglected, ignored, abused the people who love him the most, the people who put him in office. And that kind of behavior comes back to fight you in the end. Yiannopoulos said, he arranged the dinner just to make Trump's life miserable because news of the dinner would leak and Trump would get Milo texted me last night during IRL, insistent they did not stage the walkout. Very apologetic. Was blindsided by it. Okay. Well, there's nothing I can.
Do you believe him? Y'all already know. I don't. I do not believe that. And to say things, and Yiannopoulos said to just to make Trump's life miserable. There's a lot of conflicting things. So let's keep going. Let's see what we got.
Say or do about it. These guys are in the news. So it was an opportunity when these stories are coming out. We had a bunch of questions prepared. I think that maybe one of the reasons is I just get up and leave.
Hey, we got Trey in the building. What is going on, brother? Says, if I'm not mistaken, the headline Tim used to go into the question called him anti-Semitic. Yeah. So, the first article was mentioned. No, sorry. The first article mentioned that Mike Pence had called him anti-Semitic, and but that was just a mention and a rundown of, hey, these are the things we're going to talk about. We're going to start with this article, and we're going to go to the dinner, and then we'll get into the anti-Semitism stuff. So yes, Tim did use the word anti-Semitism, did bring up the fact, but on any news show, specifically when you expect a show where there's not going to be a lot of the typical back and forth, that you're going to do a rundown of the early in the show. So a lot of people are saying, oh, well, he brought it up first and they got mad. Stay tuned, because according to Tim, he made it extremely clear. We will get there. We will get there, but this is a news show. This is not. This is a news show. We want to talk about what's in the news, and you are in the news, yes, but the news is the dinner. We want to know what that conversation was. The fact is, Kanye doing this, that, or the other. I don't care, unless he's talking to presidential candidates.
They didn't actually want to have these questions asked. Fuentes is saying that I'll break it down. You know what I see with this story? Gay is using Milo. Gay is using Fuentes. Fuentes and Milo are using Gay. It is I don't know.
It's a circle where they're all jerks. And so that, I mean, there definitely is a level of, especially in politics anywhere, people using other people for their own gain. That's what politics is. But what he's talking about here, it just seems, from what I saw, much more insidious than that.
At the end of the show, I said that Milo had set up a dinner, and Ye said that's not true. He said I was invited before, and then he got Milo. That's an NBC News story. Yiannopoulos said he arranged the dinner. Perhaps he just meant arranged Fuentes at dinner. Perhaps.
Maybe.
We heard before the show, Ye said that he was raising up their profiles. I think they're all just I think Ye is smarter than people give him credit for. I'll answer some questions.
I agree with that. And Tim said that Ye is smarter than people give him credit for. Of course, some people think he's, literally God. But I think he's extremely intelligent. But I don't see him having the capability to use somebody like Milo. I mean, Nick Fuentes is, if he's gonna get clout, then that's easy. But I don't see Kanye being able to use Milo as effectively as Milo would be able to use Kanye. And again, I'm going back to this whole thing about how Kanye said in that very short time he was actually on the show that when you become famous, your growth is stunted. He got famous at 24. Then you bounce from handler to handler to handler. Now he's just gone, lost all of his handlers between his wife and Balenciaga and Adidas and wherever else. He's lost all those handlers, and it just makes too much sense to me that Milo sees that he can be the next Kanye handler.
Some people said, that Tim said the media was being unfair to Ye. What were they being unfair about, Tim? What is that a soundbite? It's like your memory extends only a few months. The media has been very unfair. The easiest example is that they've been insistent that he is mentally ill and unwell, deranged. And I'm going to tell you this. The guy who showed up at my house with a smile on his face, completely lucid and coherent, talking about asking us what kind of food he got, of sound mind as far as I could tell. Now, okay, maybe say bipolar or whatever, and it changed on a dime or whatever, perhaps. But that's the point I'm trying to get off, at least right away. That you come out, Kanye comes out and says, I agree with Candace Owens and Donald Trump, and the media said his brain was broken. That's not fair. You're allowed to have these political. So I certainly think they've been unfair. They tried to, and it was a light statement. It's not like I'm trying to say that every single thing I said about him is wrong. I was trying to be like, okay, look, I agree that they've been unfair. But I'm at the media, corporate press, which amazingly, majority white women.
White women.
So, but ultimately, I kind of feel like this is one big Molotov cocktail into Trump. Fuentes is saying he loves Trump. They didn't plan this. Milo's insistent that they didn't plan walking out on us. When Milo told NBC News they were trying to make Trump's life miserable. So, I don't know, man. I'm tired of the story, to be completely honest.
So you can see he's very not happy with the fact that he is the news. Well, many of us would love to be the news. He just wants to do his show and be the, do what he does. He doesn't want to have to be the news. So let's skip to last night's show, the show after the one Kanye was on. Michael Malice, a great person to follow. Unfortunately, he blocked me on Twitter because I guess my jokes are just too good. But great guy to listen to. He's actually an anarchist, but he is very measured and very deliberate in what he says. So even though a lot of his ideas are kind of out there, he has very strict reasoning and logic behind it, and he's just a very witty and entertaining dude. So this is a clip from that, and where they're talking directly about the incident.
Many of you may have seen what happened last night on this show, and I have concerns that we had Ye, Fuentes, and Milo on the show. A lot of people messaged me beforehand saying, "Why are you having them on? What they're using you? They have an agenda." And it's
Who's
funny.
they?
Who's they? No. But listen. They say they as in
Who's
general,
they?
They were using you, Tim. They were using you. And I said, all of them. Why do you think people come on this show? Do you think they're coming on because they love me and they want to hold my hand and smile and look at my face? Or do you think they're trying to promote a book? Do you think they're trying to get a message out? They're trying to promote their Twitter accounts. They have ideas they want to share. Of course, everyone's using everybody. I have guests on so we can make an interesting show for our business. They come on because it's an opportunity for them to share or sell or whatever. I thought we were friends.
So I think that is, kind of an aside, but an important point to keep in mind while we're talking about this. That like it's Michael Mouse. Oh, I thought we were friends. Like, yes, we can be friendly, but especially at this level, especially at Kanye's level, it's not just hanging out. Time is money. And so the idea that like, oh, you're just trying to do, like, yeah, I'm trying to get money. I'm trying to get more famous. That is what my job is. What do you mean? So that's just another like I said, it's a little aside of a lot of people talking about that, and it's just I don't really give much mind to it.
Again, that's we're only having you on because you make us laugh. Okay,
I guess I'm a clown.
So here's what I want to say, because right now there's a lot of stories. Trump is being told that he's going to announce these guys. There was a story that popped up on Fox 5. Kanye West spotted in Frederick after storming off a podcast. Here's the
guys. If you could do me a huge favor and you have not already, please hit that like button. Is the biggest thing that gets this in the algorithm, and we are trying to party. So let's get it poppin'.
Potential scenario. To be fair, the scenario is they abruptly left the show. They were on it. Ye didn't like that I was not agreeing with him or that I was pushing back in any capacity. Got up and stormed off. Milo and Nick, working for Ye, wouldn't stick around and left. Immediately, they called a charter company to schedule a private plane. Who was they were very lucky that a hot crew on the ground ready to go was available nearby and was able to then dispatch a plane to Frederick that they could then get into within a couple hours' notice.
So you're telling me, you are telling me that it just so happened that there was a hot crew and a private jet ready for you to go. If you own a private jet, then it's there. Even still, you got to call the crew in, whatever. It takes time. So what Tim is talking about, he's talked about how he is flown private for business stuff all the time, and that it doesn't work like that. You can't just snap your fingers. But there, he does give a caveat. But already something else that's a little bit fishy. Nothing that is a hook, line, and sinker, but just a lot of weird pieces. A lot of weird pieces. Right.
Entirely possible. My personal opinion, that sounds really, really crazy if that's the case. So when they stormed off the show, my first thought was that, okay, storm off the show. And we talked about it, and I said it was the perfect thing to do if you want to generate press. There's a story going around that Donald Trump met with Nick Fuentes and anti-white supremacist. That was all last week. First thing this week, we have the show, and I think it was the first thing Nick said on the show was that something about isn't it really them? And then immediately Ye gets up and walks out downstairs, smiling his face, eating cookies. Apparently, one of our guys here said that when they were leaving, he said something like, "I came to the show, got what I needed, now I'm done. I'm leaving."
I came for what I came to the show, got what I needed, and now I'm done. That's Milo talking. So if Milo's saying that he got what he needed, what exactly is it that he needed? A big story with Kanye West. Listen to it again. Man.
One of our guys here said that when they were leaving, he said something like, "I came to the show, got what I needed, now I'm done. I'm leaving." And so that made me wonder about what was the goal. It's possible. Maybe I'm just thinking too much into it that Milo wanted revenge on Trump. Milo was quoted as saying he invited Nick because he knew Trump would mishandle it in the press.
Remember, we brought up the in the ABL video, he had those, I don't know what you call them on Parler, but the Parler tweet post thingies where Milo was saying how Trump, screwed him over. He was going to get vengeance and he wanted to take down the Republican Party. 2 weeks ago, though, he was all about Daddy Trump. There's nothing else in the world that can possibly make things okay but Daddy Trump. So what happened?
He wanted to make Trump's Trump's life miserable. Trump is mishandling the press. The first thing out of, I believe it was the first thing out of Nick's mouth was, but isn't it them? And then Ye leaves right around the half an hour mark when we're at 100,000 concurrent viewers. And that said to me, they had to plan this. Then I saw the video of them going to the Frederick airport, boarding what appears to be a super mid private jet right after the show, within a few hours. And I was like,
super. So let's see exactly how big that is. Super mid private jet. Let's see what exactly that looks like. So it's not like, I'm not talking like money wise. I'm saying this is not something that, they're just laying around. They, people have them, people charter them, but you need to order it. It's like basically like rich people Uber. But I mean, this is not something that is likely to just be around. Impossible? Of course not. But again, we're just looking at some fishy stuff.
how did they charter a private jet that fast? It is entirely possible they did. I know where the jet originated. We did some sleuthing to figure it out. What happened was
Now, another thing I want to say is that I'm really kind of just echoing a lot of the things that Tim is going to say. But that's precisely why I wanted to get on last night and talk about this, because I had my own ideas about this and I didn't want to watch him say all the things I was already thinking and then come on and say, hey guys, guess what I thought of? Everything that he is talking about matches up exactly with what I said last night.
About a half an hour's flight time away, a hot crew. This is what I'm told. It's entirely possible. These are by the experts in the private aviation. A hot crew was available. I'm sorry. What they said was a plane nearby flew to Frederick, landed for about an hour, and then departed with them. It is entirely possible that they happened upon what's called a hot crew. That's what they said, meaning there were people on the ground working, ready to take off for no reason. The plane was not being used. Ye is a very powerful, wealthy individual. Perhaps he knows somebody and someone has his back. It's interesting considering everything he's been saying about how they're trying to arrest him and shut him down and silence him and censor him. But apparently, he was able to get within 2 hours' notice a super mid private jet fly from here to Los Angeles with a crew active. I don't know what happened, but to me it sounds staged. It sounded like they knew in advance they'd be leaving. At least Ye may have. That's not the vibe I got.
So, and I want to stop again because that's, like I said, that's the weird thing here. So I talk so much about how I love Ian being on the show. So y'all just heard what he said. Ian was not part of the actual panel of the episode that Ye and Milo were on, but I think he lives in the compound. And he was having conversations with them before. I was hoping that they had a green room video of all that stuff. But don't worry, we've still got the private members only segment that you cannot watch for free anywhere else. So that Tim said, he got that vibe, and Ian is disagreeing.
It sounded like they knew in advance they'd be leaving. At least Ye may have. That's not the vibe I got. I got that they seemed very genuine when they were here. I know Milo. I mean, he's a zany dude, but like he's looking for redemption. That's his path right now. And Kanye's grasping at straws to try and find someone to help him. And Nick was so kind the entire time he was here. Like, I've heard stuff about him. I've seen him say stuff online out of context that's racist. But when you see him eyes to eyes, like the guy is looking for friends. Like he doesn't probably lived in an environment where he didn't have a lot of friends. So what happened was you and Kanye were going back and forth and kind of interrupting each other. You mentioned at one point, Tim, you were holding your finger up, indicating you want to jump in, and he was like, he's like, you want to say something, go for it. Before the show.
Yeah.
And so as soon as the show started, his demeanor changed.
So you guys were kind of had an agreement. So this is another big part, is the demeanor change. I specifically pointed out when I saw Kanye's demeanor change on air. But now Ian's talking about a complete, even from the before the show to the beginning part of the show, when it seemed like everything was, going smoothly. Another chink in the armor.
Like, we're going to kind of talk over each other. We're going to flow. But then when Nick chimed in and you interrupted Nick, Kanye's face dropped and then he got out. He was like, you crossed the line. When you interrupt me, that's okay. You interrupt Nick, I'm out.
Before the show, when we're doing pre-show and setting up, it was so different. Kanye said a few things. I pushed back and he just had a smile on his face and he's like nodding along like whatever. The show comes on, and all of a sudden he's like, we went to Trump's dinner. I was invited first. Called Milo. So anyway, let's talk about anti-Semitism. And I'm like, like we were just talking before the show.
You know what happened?
So again, Trey was talking about how Tim used the headline and that's how that all got started. Yes, that is what happened. in chronologically, but as he's explaining, it was made crystal clear that that is not what we are jumping into. And then he did jump into the all the anti-Semitism stuff, and Tim went with it. So the people saying that Tim came out looking worse or Tim messed this up. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Timcast, so the buck stops with him. Similarly to whatever happens on this channel, that falls on my shoulders. But just saying, wasn't that simple. There was clear conversation.
No, he knew what the article was. We had the article pulled up pre-show. He mentioned Pence. He asked Fuentes about Pence and what Trump. I said, we'll use this story to launch the dinner and the controversy caused by it.
We will use this story to launch the dinner. And the current controversy caused by it.
And I'll ask you about how this dinner came to be. What do you think about it? What happened with it? And then what is Yay 24? And I was like, who am I kidding? We're going to get into the anti-Semitism stuff. I'm going to push back. Here's how it'll play out. Like, if you guys want to say something, I'm going to put my hand up and let you know I'm going to talk about this. And they're like, of course, no problem. Absolutely fine. And then as soon as the show started, all of a sudden it was like, oh, how dare you bring up this article? Oh my.
Here's what I don't understand about that dinner. That doesn't make sense to me.
This is Michael Malice, by the way.
Do not get a +3 to meet with the president. I don't care who you are. That is not. Piers Morgan had a piece today that he won The Apprentice. He was, I think, the first winner of The Apprentice. He was interviewing Trump at Mar-a-Lago. The Secret Service, basically gives you an anal swab before you bring me to the president, especially for dealing at Mar-a-Lago, which not that long ago was raided because there were concerns about things that are classified or whatever,
right,
so on and so forth. I don't understand how, if you're running for president and this is a scenario in your home, you're going to have dinner with anyone, and be like, oh yeah, bring your buddies, and not be paranoid, even just for security reasons. Who are these people? Are they spies? Are they so on and so forth? I don't understand that.
What do you guys think about that? Because when it comes to at least Kanye, and I think this is something that Tim actually brings up later, but Trump has been known to love just celebrity culture, all that stuff. And so the notion that he would want to just sit and have dinner with Kanye is not as random as I think Michael Malice is making it out to be. But what do you guys think about that?
With it. Here, when we're bringing people in, we have to send this big long-winded email about who's allowed here, what this means, vetted by you, stuff like that. Now, I wouldn't say it's like we're that strict where we.
But you're not the president.
Exactly.
You're not a former president. It absolutely beggars belief. And the other thing is, like, Jake Weger had a tweet about, like, this isn't a surprise. This is who Trump hangs out with, white supremacists. It's like, when someone's the president, you know exactly who they're hanging out with. You know every minute of their day, who they're having for dinner, and so on and so forth. It's not a big secret. Their schedule is very public and very known, and it's a very big deal. This is the president of the United States. This is the former president of the United States. So what Trump is saying does not cut ice with me. And what else is crazier to me, in all seriousness, his daughter converted to Judaism, right? So this is something that obviously, and I think one of his other kids married a Jewish woman. So the joke is, like, what's the difference between New York Times reader and Donald Trump's grandchildren are going to be Jewish? It's like, if he has this in his family, for him to be like, well, oops, I didn't know, that's just confusing.
You think he just trusted Kanye and was like, if you want to bring whoever.
But why would you trust? I think, first of all, he has this owner for celebrities that is really.
So this is where I got this. So it's Michael Malice who was bringing this up.
Demented. Because that explains why he's endorsing Dr. Oz, who believes Justice Smollett, who's for trans kid surgeries, who had the whole laundry list of, like, very lefty ideas. Herschel Walker, who's just a football star, presented, like, the love affair Donald Trump has for people who are blue checks is demented.
So with that being said, that makes it a little bit more reasonable that Kanye would get just a +1, first of all, but being able to add Nick Fuentes on the end. So that part makes somewhat sense to me. It doesn't seem like it's impossible.
I think Ian's right about one thing, that this guy's looking for friends. I can't speak to the things that any of them have said in the past. Like, what I should say is, like, obviously they've said horrible things, testable things. But what I genuinely believe is, we had MILO on this show a couple weeks ago, and he talked about supporting Trump. He talked about vengeance. He was talking about this stuff. His focus was different. Then he gets involved with Ye, brings in Fuentes, and all of a sudden, this is like a particular component of his career, his personality.
That's specifically why I wanted to bring up the clip from the previous MILO appearance, because it was so drastic. And I thought it was at least a month ago, but it was 2 weeks ago.
What I think happens is, when you cancel people, they go in the only direction they can.
Wait, I disagree, because I have receipts from MILO. Because when this book came out, I wrote a book about this. There's a chapter about MILO in my book on the new right. I think Milo is very,
Mm.
very charming. He's very, very witty. He's certainly very intelligent. And of all the people who got canceled, the reason he got canceled, I think, was one of the more BS reasons. He was the victim of childhood abuse. He spoke out about it in a kind of tongue-in-cheek manner. I don't begrudge anyone who suffered from something like that how they should deal with the situation. And he was basically saying things like, okay, this is something that I'm.
Does everybody know what what Michael Miles is talking about in terms of Milo getting canceled and abuse and all that?
He's kind of rationalizing, like, I'm glad this happened to me at a young age, as opposed to being like, holy crap, I got my innocence taken from me at a time when it should have. So I think the fact that he was just like, get out, like everything's ruined for you because of something that had been done to him where he was innocent as a kid or teenager, I thought was really kind of over the top. And clearly it was like Al Capone going to jail because of income taxes. It really wasn't income tax. There's to get rid of him. And he did an article a couple years ago with the Jewish Journal because when this all came out, like I thought Milo was Jewish. And I remember this being a thing at the time when he pushed back about the Nazis about this. I sent hold on, let me pull up the DM here. Here's the article from the Jewish Journal. This is from 2019. And he was talking about this then. This is with the Jewish Journal. And he had said, I'm quoting Milo here. Let me get it up. He goes, he thinks the Jewish community and the Jewish lobby would be well served to not throw a basket every time someone throws out what would be a anti-Semitic trope. And he says, this is quoting Milo, just like I don't like left-wing political correctness about women and black Muslims, I don't like right-wing political correctness about Jews in Israel.
So he is seeing wrong one. Milo is seeing the idea of why can't we talk about the Jews like that as just mere political correctness, and that's not what it is. And he tried to make the comparison to Tim talking about the black vote. Well, yeah, but it's not like you're attributing any type of characteristic. You're just talking about a specific demographic. Those two very different contexts.
So, and he said, people claim that really stupid things are anti-Semitic that are not really anti-Semitic, or they make more of a fuss about it than they need to. So at a certain point, he has been addressing this at least 2019 for 3 years.
What I mean to say is, if these guys were given an opportunity, if some, obviously it would never happen, but if you went to any one of these guys and said, we want you to be a brand ambassador for a big company paying you a lot of money, but you got to stay away from these subjects, they say yes.
Which isn't a bad thing, but it begs the question: where are your values and what are your motivations?
I think what happens is when people get love bombed, you'll get somebody who
This is a
starts
great
getting bunch of tweets where they're like, hey, I like what you're saying, keep saying more of it. And then they're going to start feeling good. They're going to be like, oh, I'm getting all this attention, building followers. And then some people are just going to say,
guys, I don't know where everybody is. I am assuming YouTube is screwing me with those notifications. So if you could do me a huge, huge, huge favor, just take that URL, go to Facebook, Twitter, wherever, plaster it there, and come right back. It'll take you 2 seconds, and it's free.
hey, like these are people supporting me and I'm going to side with them. But there's an inverse to that. When you ban someone and they have nowhere to go and they can't get redemption, they will go to whoever is willing to accept them.
And on top of just the love bombs, it's the financial incentive, because if people are getting paid because they have a following, now they're getting ad revenue or they're getting direct subscriptions, no matter what they're saying. If they're saying really cruel, evil things and they're getting paid for it, that's free speech, but also that can incentivize the continuation of the behavior. And it's kind of tough to dig out, especially if you get canceled. You're like, well, the only people that pay me are these people.
Right.
And they only watch me because of this content. So more of that.
When you get canceled, when you get censored, you get sent off to the far corners of the internet where a lot of people get radicalized. And people need to understand bad ideas need to be fought with good ideas. And we don't have this battle of ideas. We never had this battle of ideas, mainly because of centralized controllers, big tech intervening and saying, no, we don't like what you're saying. We don't like your political stance. Be gone. And then those ideas are never routinely challenged.
So that's all true. And I think things that Kanye would agree with. But the fact is that if you're getting deplatformed and debanked and then you get put on a platform, a very big platform, and you use that opportunity to throw a temper tantrum, well then what is the worth of your platform? What is the worth of your message if you can't even get it out?
Routinely questioned. There's no pushback against them. And only in places where they fester and grow are these kind of larger elements that again, never see the light of public day. And I think this is why we need to debate. We need to argue. We need to, of course, create steelman arguments and question and debate everything.
This is
Hey, we got indie film in the building. Welcome. Oh.
another takeaway I had from last night. I love YouTube as a platform. I've loved this since Steve Chen and Chad Hurley built the thing. And the third guy, who I don't know the name of, started.
Ian.
But last night conversation was not a conversation for YouTube in its current state. You guys want to fix up your terms of service into a more free speech oriented thing? It would be. But when we have people on, there's a chance they might violate the terms of service level. We got to go to another platform. because we need to let those guys speak. People need to speak. And then let them, because if Kanye went on for 30 minutes and then Nick responded for 20 minutes and they said all sorts of offensive things that YouTube would stop, we'd have a chance to rebut and talk about it and come to some sort of consensus that ideally we would all come out better people from. Thanks for watching.
You listen to that and tell me that Ian doesn't have a place on this show. He rolls ones or he rolls 20s, as they use the Dungeons and Dragons terminology. But he either hits or he doesn't. He's hit or miss. But on point. On point. So that's what they were talking about. You know, they mentioned a little bit more throughout the show. This was the live show from YouTube last night. But then we go over to Timcast.com, where, yes, in fact, I am a paying member, and I get to watch all the members' stuff, and you don't, unless you are here right now. So let's see what they actually, they had that conversation. This is still from the same Michael Malice episode. They had that conversation, and they moved on to other stuff. Then, if you're not familiar, they do, about a 2-hour show on YouTube. And then, similar to what we do, we go into our own spaces where we don't have to worry about the algorithm and the copyrights and all that stuff. Do it on the website. They do it on their own website, and we go to Discord. But that's what this is. So this is the uncensored, full whatever.
So we have this story, and of course, we're going to rehash a lot of what happened the other day. So there's some stuff I want to say. The Daily Mail is reporting that Trump's fuming over Kanye bringing white supremacist Nick Fuentes to dinner. Ex-president also says Fuentes' views wouldn't have been accepted at Mar-a-Lago dinner if they were brought up.
How is that that is not a headline that belongs under news? There is so much editorialization in that title, in that headline. But that's the news, I guess.
Maybe. I mean, Michael, you brought up the point earlier that, like, how did this guy get in?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You don't get a +3 to meet a president. So, and it's your fault for trusting someone that you shouldn't have trusted. And it's just crazy. You have to. Here's the thing. I'll defend Trump in the broad sense. He shook hands with Kim Jong-un, right? So this is someone who has more blood in his hands than any literal Nazi, white nationalist, KKK person in America. Like, to this day, this is why I wrote the book on North Korea, to reader, because the atrocities going on there are unimaginable. And that was something where you could wrap your head around it because he's trying to liberalize them and advocate for the North Korean people. So when you're president, you're going to be meeting with lots of very many screwed up people. Maybe that was a mistake, maybe not. But the point is, you're certainly handshaking with lots of demonic figures, which I don't think is demonic at that level. Point being, even when you're a CEO, right? If you're in
I shook all their hands.
in a politically but if you're a CEO and you're in a politically sensitive position and you're having dinner with someone, they ask you, "Hey, I'm bringing these people." Like, when they show up, you have to have your guy vet them. But Trump doesn't have assistants. It makes no sense. And if he's that sloppy, he deserves whatever blowback he gets.
So I agree with her. So
Absolutely.
Milo's texted me.
Wait, can I say one more?
So before he goes on from that, the acting the way you acted, everybody saw it, and this is how people are going to view you. So it really has nothing to do with any kind of conspiracy, anything. It's just people saw what happened and didn't like it. Hey, we got No Freedoms in the building. What is going on, brother? I am so glad you're here because No Freedoms and I were having a little bit of a back and forth about this in the comments of the last video. So he says Kanye is probably not being controlled. Okay, and why do you think that? Why do you think that? Goes on to say, what the fuck? KK and white America has more blood on their hands than, well, that's not really what we're talking about, is it?
Hold on. This is something that just reminded me. The biggest criticism about Trump for all his years was his staffing decisions. He has Fauci. He's bringing the head of...
Hey, we got Arthur in the building. What is good? What is good? Says Milo is a maniacal architect. And that is exactly why I think that he is pulling all the strings here. So Freedom says it is like me saying Hitler has less blood. That's not a full thought. Less blood than who? Arthur says, me and No Freedoms literally get here at the same time. What are you guys what were you guys doing? Just getting Definitely can't control crazy. I agree. So why can't I? Oh, because he doesn't use the letters. He uses all these characters. So I don't know how to yeah, I don't know how to tag. There's no letters there, so that's why that's happening.
On to be the Secretary of State. He's bringing in swamp creatures. You know what John Bolton,
You try to hire Bill Gates as a science advisor.
the person that he asked for advice who should be Secretary of State was Condoleezza Rice. That was the first person he asked. This is before he was even inaugurated. She is the queen of the neocons. She was behind the Iraq War. This is who you're calling. So the point being, if your issue with staffing has been a concern for your presidency, and it's something even your strong supporters are like, all right, they kind of ran the table about you.
Again, this is exactly what we were talking about. Hey, we got OG Snowbone. Welcome, OG Snowbone. He well, that is his real last name, but that is funny. Good one. Welcome. We are just following up on the huge story of what happened with Kanye walking off the Timcast IRL show 2 nights ago. This was from the show last night. This is actually the really? Is that true? I didn't know that. That's dope though, because Michael Malice has a good ring to it, and he is an uber troll. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I didn't know that. So thank you for teaching me. Hey, we got Divine and Rod in the building. What is going on, brother? I am glad you are here. Did I miss one? Yeah, just ignore the Nightbot. I don't know how to fix that. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. I didn't know that. But like I said, I think that's a good move. But welcome everybody. Like I said, we are now into the members only segment that is only behind the paywall on timcast.com. But for y'all, I gotcha.
They're saying you've learned your lesson. Well, now people are showing up. You're like, okay, cool. Whoever he is, I'm fine with it. Like this.
I missed what he was saying. Let's bring that back a little bit.
Condoleezza Rice. That was the first person he asked. This is before he was even inaugurated. She is the queen of the neocons. She was behind the Iraq War. This is who you're calling. So the point being, if your issue with staffing has been a concern for your presidency, and it's something even your strong supporters are like, all right, they kind of ran the table about you, and they're saying you've learned your lesson. Well, now people are showing up. You're like, okay, cool. Whoever he is, I'm fine with it. Like this should be your biggest issue to fix. And like, I'm going to surround myself with people that I've thoroughly vetted.
Exactly. And again, we come back to the notion of Trump not having the right people around him. Hey, we got Anna Jewel in the building. Welcome. How are you doing? Welcome. Yeah, he stormed out. He was gone. It was 21 minutes into the actual stream, and that's not including all the introductions and go sign up at Timcast, all that stuff. So about 19 minutes. Arthur says, Tim annoys me too. He's definitely not a comedian, but walking out. I think, are you saying that that he wasn't being funny? Because I don't think he was trying to be funny. I think he was legitimately trying to have a conversation. And Kanye was there, through my speculation, because having the mentality that he'd be able to go sit there and just spew whatever he wanted to say, because Milo put that in his head. And so I think Milo put that in his head, but I don't know if Milo put that in his head because of 2 weeks ago when Milo was on the show, he was able to talk nonstop. And so he thought, oh yeah, this is a great platform. Or he knew that was a special episode for him. They talked many times about how, he was canceled for so long, first time on the platform, so on and so forth. And so maybe he thought, hey, if we can make this happen, if I can get Kanye to try to take over the show, it's going to get a lot of press for me. So Freedoms asked Arthur, work out on someone who is a bad faith actor. Walk out. How? And again, so that's why I'm glad you're here. No Freedoms. What did Tim do that was in bad faith? That's what I don't understand. The whole thing was about the word they. As we saw, it was made crystal clear to Kanye that we would get to the name calling, the anti-Semitism, all that stuff, but that we are running a show. It is a news show. We want to start with this article that, yes, it does mention that Mike Pence called you anti-Semitic, but we want to talk. We want to use that article to get into the dinner that you guys had with the former president of the United States. We want to hear about that, but he's not capable of having a conversation. He's capable of spewing whatever he believes, whether you believe, whether you follow him, whether you like what he says or not. He's very good at doing that, but conversation, not so much. I said, I know he's not trying to be funny. That's why he annoys me when he's so always so serious. I mean, that's a fair opinion. That's a fair opinion. I completely disagree. When you see the magnitude of the size of the show, the number of people that he brings on, just everything, there's just a lot going on, and you guys see me get annoyed when there's fucking like 10 people in here and somebody's kind of messing with my flow. So that is a fair opinion, Arthur. But I definitely can see where he's coming from. At the end of the day, all I really care about is, are you being honest and transparent, and are you giving me information that is true, and are you giving me information that is relevant? If you follow those three things, I'm good with you. So as an off buyer here, it screams at his employees, and I did hear that too. But again, this is something that we heard about Steve Jobs. This is something we hear about people who are. This is think about directors that are. I don't know one off the top of my head, but I've heard a lot about people in those type of positions where there's a lot to deal with. You have to be on the ball, because people fuck around. People have their own interests. And if you're running the whole show, then that has to be your top priority. So, this says, I think Kanye just detected the bad faith with his spice sense. So, okay, no freedoms. Arthur, I'm asking you guys specifically. This is a direct question to the two of you. Either both, what was it that Tim did or said that is bringing you to the conclusion that bad faith is an appropriate description of what happened? So there's screaming, and then there's screaming. There's definitely a line. Well, I mean, true, but we weren't there, so it could have been screaming or screaming. So I agree with OG Snowbone. Tim isn't serious. He morphed his house into a skate park to rollerblade around. Yes, 100%. Yeah. Stanley Kubrick. He was a very very strict and very hard to work with, as they say in Hollywood. But that's what it is. It's called the I Quit line. His vibe. Okay, it's just like my truth that Tim is just like, okay, I didn't realize you were a modern woman. But that's fine. That's fine. I guess I guess that's where we landed, and that's fair. That's fair. But at the end of the day, this is not about, do we like Tim? Do we want to suck him off? We are interested in what is going on with MILO and Kanye. Some checking fact. Yeah, I don't know he's acting big, but I believe it. So this is this goes back to the religion argument that, like, okay, you can think that, but that just means that you're just saying things. You have to if you have that opinion formed, there are things that you have seen or heard that brought you to bad faith, and not just somebody that you disagree with. And so if you don't know what it is, then maybe before you go talking about how people are acting in bad faith, which is very different than, I personally don't like them, I personally don't agree with them, maybe you want to figure out why it is that you think that. Freedom says, everyone expect Tim knew he what Kanye might expect him. Brilliant. Everyone try again, bro. Try again.
This was a tremendous smack out of Trump in so many ways. This dinner, he's reeling from it. Everyone's coming after him about it, and even people on the right are coming after him. And that's what was important. The left has tried to demonize Trump, but the right always says, "Oh, shut up with his bullshit."
You are welcome to where, this is the last video that we're watching. I'm going to open up the panel here. So specifically no freedoms and Arthur. If you guys want to come up and talk about this, then, kind of does really look bad. Just throwing things out there that don't really align with what we've seen both today and yesterday. And then, making excuses. I worked 8 hours today too, but I'm also running a 3-hour show. So where you at? Come on.
But the right does not like protest. So this was something more. I want to say, Milo's been texting me, adamant they did not plan for this, that he feels really bad, didn't mean for it to happen. Looking up some of the details from the flight they got, entirely possible that Ye is wealthy enough that he can command hot crews full flights like that, and I didn't the richest guys or whatever in the world. And so, Milo's just like, we didn't want that to happen. I just want to make sure I say that at least here, because it was right towards the end of the show. He mentioned like, look, I did not expect that to happen. They left because they worked for him, and they look like he's out. He's awesome.
And full belief, I agree. I think that he's being honest because what he didn't do is drama. He didn't go online and make a video about it. Milo's not trying to grope off this. He's just genuinely broken.
You sure about that? So Rad says, in Dante's Inferno, there's a special place in hell for fence sitters. Declare your intention or get your limp-wristed ass off the pot. Yeah. And that's fair. Arthur says, I'll take my leave politely. This conversation is a bit irritating for me, and not because I don't have arguments. I think we just don't communicate well. Influencer to viewer. Well, I respect your opinion. I do believe that if you do hold this opinion, we would be able to have a very interesting conversation that not only me and you, but everybody else would be able to gain from your guys' opinions. Freedom says those who know the truth don't like to debate and try to explain things. We might try, but it's not my fault that you don't get it. Well, you're not explaining things. This is not a sentence. This is not a sentence. All right, let's try again. Since I'm getting called out for it. Everyone expect Tim knew what Kanye meant. Expect Tim. Are you trying to say everyone except Tim knew what Kanye meant? And then it would be redundant to say except him? I don't know what Kanye was trying to say because he left and didn't say it. Goes on to say, then again, act like he didn't know. What? He's okay to generalize Kanye and the blacks. When did he do that? Talking about the black vote is not generalizing. That is a specific demographic. That's like saying, oh, well, it's fine to generalize 35 to or 18 to 25-year-olds. Like, yeah, because there is similarities in the context that you're using. You're not saying, talking about the black vote is not saying, oh, black people are this, that, or the other. Those are two very different things. If you don't understand that, then maybe Arthur can go on for days, but you definitely cannot know freedoms. But we don't dare talk about the Jews. He was a coward. Yes, I agree. Kanye was a coward because he could not. He was willing to come and say what he wanted to say, and then when got the tiniest little bit of pushback, he dipped out. I mean, I don't. You're not making a point. You're saying, okay, he's a coward. He knew this. How do you know the things that you are saying? Because again, you are just saying things. You're just saying things.
Yeah, he's not trying to grape off this shit. He's obviously cares about you. That's why he contacted you directly.
Yeah, what a coward to bring on three of the most toxic people in the world right now on your show. That is extremely successful, and you have no reason to risk that.
Oh, I don't know if I believe that. I think
you sleep with you already.
You don't want to burn bridges. You're not trying to be. You're not trying to make enemies when you're.
But I think he likes you too. He's a cool guy.
Here's what I want to say. Because I said this right before we started streaming, right before we started recording. Milo came on a couple days after the midterms. I think it was the 7th was the midterms, or was the 8th, whatever. So he came on the day after. What a day to come on. We're hoping to get him and Marjorie Taylor Greene at the same time. To be honest, we couldn't. He was busy. I mean, Milo basically monologued for an hour and a half, and there were a few
So that's what I was talking about. The fact that he just literally for 90 straight minutes was talking when we showed examples of Tim trying to and Luke trying to engage a conversation, and he would just steamroll right over them. Freedom so saying the Jews is bad, but saying the blacks is okay. I wouldn't say the Jews or the blacks. My point is saying the blacks and the black vote are two very different things. Context matters. So yes, saying the Jews is bad and saying the blacks is bad. This is identitarianism. The whole point that they were going to get into, if Kanye had some fucking balls to actually sit and stand behind what he says, was the fact that you have people who happen to be Jewish in these positions that you believe are running the world. Is it that there is something inherent to Judaism? Is it a conspiracy where, like, what is it that you think? So trying to act like, oh, everybody gets it. Y'all know it. No, you have your idea of your interpretation of what you think Kanye meant, and you're assuming that you are correct. But he didn't stay to talk about it. So you don't know more than anyone else than what was really in Kanye's head. So Tim is okay to say the blacks, but the Jews again, no. When did he say the blacks? Show me that. Pull out. Get the clip, and I'll apologize and tell you you're right. But he did not say the blacks. He said the black vote. Are we now saying everybody who's ever talked about the black vote is racist or whatever you're trying to say? The fact that you're trying to talk about the Jews, according to them, being a cabal of conspiracy guys pulling the strings, to be the same thing as talking about the black vote? Come on, do better.
Points where Luke and I butted in, but mostly let him speak because he had 5 years of this pent up worldview. He is a talker. That was his thing. He was a character personality. He was a speaker, a commentator, and they shut him out for years. And here he was coming back saying, here's what I've seen, here's what I think, here's how I feel, here's how people like me feel. And the cat was like, he's nailing it. He's hitting the head on the nail. He's hitting the nail on the head with a hammer. We want revenge. We feel played. Trump was our sign of hope. And I was like, this is really, really interesting stuff. At that point, he got hit up by a bunch.
Hey, we got Frankie in the building. What is going on? As well as Mike, who cheese Harry. What is good, guys? Welcome. We are going over some new information. If you didn't see the stream I did yesterday, we talked about the whole Kanye thing, but between the podcast that Tim did yesterday and what we're watching right now, the members only content, they got way more into it, and there's a lot more information. So welcome to the party.
2 people, prominent conservative speakers, saying that was the best podcast I've ever seen. No joke, literally that quote. I'm not going to say what it was. Big names. And they were like, wow. Then I find out a couple weeks later, Milo's now working with Ye and Fuentes, and they're saying some stupid ass shit. And I feel kind of bad. I'm like, man, if Milo did not throw in with them, he'd be on not just a redemption arc, but he'd be a rising star based on that show he did where explained his feelings. Clara.
So he's saying, Tim was saying he's going to go up, but I want to address this. So Dave Chappelle said it best. There's 2 words you can never say together: the and Jews. Jews have a lot of power and didn't care about hurting communities for a buck. Nobody is arguing about that. I don't know what you think my position is after listening to me talk for 3 hours about this already, and answering comments of yours in extended paragraphs. I don't know what it is that you think of my position, but this isn't it. I'm not saying that it's okay to talk about the blacks. I just said it is tit for tat, the same exact thing in my eyes, to say the blacks are doing this, to say the Jews are doing this. In both cases, that is not okay. You are claiming that Tim has talked about the blacks outside the context of the black vote, which is an accepted term in American politics. And I've never heard it. So if you can show it to me, then I'll apologize and I'll say you're right. But you keep making these claims. You keep saying these things without explaining what it is that you actually think. Byron said there is complete completely is something about naming the most chosen, and generalizing is the point. Whether tiny hats or black or any other group, or any other groups are shit. It is the individual where it is at. Exactly. That is the whole point here. The idea of whether it's black people thinking that, or whether it's white people thinking that black people are all the same, or black people thinking that white people are all the same, or black people thinking that Jews are all the same. This group mentality is just bad. What about the way they talk about Christians and Christianity? I think depending on what you're listening to, if it's on the right, the only way to be a moral person is to be a Christian. And as an atheist, I find that quite offensive because I try very hard to put morality at the forefront of my brain every single day. Other news outlets talk about Christianity as if it is a cult, which it is, but most people are not cultish in their Christianity. So I don't. If you want to elaborate, I'm happy to. So Frankie says, I'd say something, but my family is Sicilian, and we actually did control large portions of the country without anyone knowing. Okay.
Fight. So earlier he said in the press that he was the one who brought.
Okay, then. So explain that. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm asking you how to be. I'm asking you how you're correct. You are. This is exactly what Kanye did. It makes perfect sense that you agree with Kanye. You think you should just be able to throw your fucking balls on the table and everybody has to fucking lick them. It don't work like that, bro. If you make claims, back them the fuck up. If you're claiming, I know this, this happened, that happened, back it the fuck up. How do you know? If you cannot answer that question, then you are just saying things. Peace! Indie film in the building. What is good? Said Dahmer says everyone he had over for dinner tastes the same. Oh my God.
The dinner with Trump, not Kanye.
He did. Okay. And he even said on the show the other day, yeah, I was now working with Ye and Fuentes, and they're saying some, stupid ass shit. And I feel kind of bad. I'm like, man, if Milo did not throw in with that, he'd be on not just a redemption arc, but he'd be a rising star based on that show he did or explained his
Wait,
feelings.
to clarify, so earlier he said in the press that he was the one who brought Dick to the dinner with Trump, not Kanye.
He did. Okay. And he even said on the show the other day, Ye said, I got in touch after he got banned for the DEFCON tweet. He got put in touch with Milo because he was told Milo wanted to reach out to him. And Milo connected him with Fuentes to bring to the dinner. And that Milo, I think he said he decided not to go. I can't remember what he said on the show.
Kanye said he brought Fuentes. He met him, he liked him, he brought him.
My point is, Milo.
Oh, honey, sweetie, baby. Freedoms says that those that are truly intelligent don't have time to explain things to the small-minded. Cope! That's the biggest cope I've ever seen from you, bro. That is pathetic. Just how Kanye trolled White Lives Matter, but hey, the same person who say giving money is bad. Who? What? What are you talking about? You're just throwing. This is some Alex Jones shit. You're just throwing a bunch of random things at the wall, and you want me to go through and like, what are you saying? Give me the bottom line. What is your bottom line? What is your claim? And we'll talk about that because you said a whole bunch of shit, but you haven't actually made a point about anything. Byron said, I think the point he was making about the way media's portrayal of Christian, or whites for that matter, it's open season. But mention a protected group for their shitty behavior. Oh, the horror. And I don't disagree with this. But are we saying that it's only the Jews that are getting this treatment? No, you can't talk about the alphabet community. You can't talk about black people. You can't talk about women. You can't talk about immigrants. You can't talk about anybody except Christian white people. So where do the Jews fit into that equation? This is what I don't get. What the fuck are you all talking about? Yes, I understand. There is an overrepresentation of Jewish people in positions of power. Okay. And I'm listening. But you're just saying things.
Teaming up with this group was I don't get it.
It was just this three of them. Like yesterday, I've never seen a bunch of gay men so upset at Stonewall.
You think Ye is gay?
Well, you saw those rumors. I mean, you saw those rumors online.
Milo
Of Milo
saying it. Yeah, Milo, there's like I don't like screenshots. Like I want to see the source. But there's screenshots going around where Milo is allegedly calling Ye gay.
and threatening to cause harm to him. Cause harm to him.
Like a legitimate call to harm or
I
something.
think he said he was going to kill him. Didn't he? That's the screen caps. We don't know if
Right.
this is real.
I call shenanigans on screen cap. It's hard to say because it's true as fuck. But like, I'm not gonna believe a screen grab, bro.
Did you see
What a fence sitter. What a fence sitter. This is the kind of thing that I think a lot of people don't like about Tim because he is measured and nuanced. And people don't like nuance. They just want to be fed the bullshit they already believe. But with the jet, the first thing was, wait, this seems like it really isn't the case that he was able to get a jet. It very much seems like this was set up. But Tim made the caveat that, yeah, he's powerful. Maybe he could. Who knows? I'm not saying it didn't happen. But and then again, talking about this, he's like, well, could be, but we don't know that for sure. Trey says, it does seem, however, whenever you speak about Jewish people, there are actions taken that actually cancel you. That actually cancel you. I mean, I guess, but again, how is that different than LGBT? You know, go anywhere as a non-black person and yell the N-word. What's the difference? Name a group that has a term for their lessers. Well, the liberals think that Republican is a lesser term. Christians believe that atheists are lesser. A name for it, though? I don't know. Hey, we got M in the building. Says the accusation is racial stereotyping. Yet the mere existence of a word that describes racial stereotyping for a single group alone, and not all groups in general, emphasizes the special class. So I'm going to say an elite, special class, an elite nature of that group identity that one must not radically stereotype or indeed even criticize. What a convenient cloak to hide behind. It's complete hypocrisy and BS. All it does is protect bad actors within that group from having their behavior appropriately admonished by mainstream society. Again, I agree, but this is not unique to Jewish people. This is not unique to Black people. This is not a unique thing. This is just a cultural phenomenon among groups. So, like, the reason I wanted to watch Kanye have that conversation is because I wanted to understand, what is it that people who talk about the Jews, what is it that you think is happening? It's like flat earthers. Like, what is it that you think is happening? That there's some huge conspiracy to make people believe that the world is round when it's not. Like, who is benefiting from that? And I'm not even saying that you're wrong. I mean, you are, but I'm not saying you're wrong if you're a flat earther. I'm willing to have the conversation. But then it's just like, oh, smart people don't have time to talk intelligence, as No Freedom says. There's a difference. The difference is you don't get your banking canceled for calling out the Black community. No, because they're the protected class now. But if you're, there's plenty of people who've been debanked for strictly political reasons that have nothing to do with, Judaism, Blacks, LGBT, or anything like that. Just, talking about any of the Rona stuff. Like, you guys have short-term memories. I don't know. I feel like we're watching a completely different podcast.
MTG disavowed Nick Fuentes.
Oh, did she?
Yeah,
Really?
just before the show.
And Nick and Meyer works for her, correct?
It's all on Twitter, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So just look up MTG and Nick Fuentes, and she came out and totally disavowed him.
It's so wild when you look at Nick's eyes.
Not her Twitter, but there's news articles about it. I don't think she's tweeting about it. Oh, there's a bunch of corporate media articles about it.
And Trump refused to.
Refused to disavow. Yeah, that's the thing. Just about him or just about the things he said in the past.
Hold on, I'm looking confused.
She spoke at an event. I think the purpose
And
is
she
you
did
want-
disavow him.
Yeah, you want racist people to become not
Right.
racist.
If she
That's-
spoke, I don't know, man. But I know Milo's extremely smart. Yes, extremely driven. And if this was all revenge, this is why I don't like vengeance. Milo came on the show and had everyone cheering for him. So after everything that happened to him with cancellation and being abandoned, this was a rising moment. He could have taken this high road. He could have stood up something that mattered, but instead he decided to go behind that and just throw himself back into the mud.
I think that's spot on. Bernie says, you know what's funny with a lot of these points people bring up when discussing the Jewish people? A lot of it is from 18th and 19th century anti-Semitism panic in Austria. Austria and Jewish people. There's something that comes to mind when you put those two things together. I don't really know what it is, but you know. Any Fountain says, every day I have less and less time to talk to the intellectually dishonest. Well, I mean, y'all are welcome to come. Not you, but those like No Freedoms who will make claims and not back them up. People like Henry, y'all are welcome to come into the arena. But if you're going to say something, if you're going to make a claim, then it is your responsibility to back it up. Otherwise, I can throw it out. That's it. It's that simple.
He felt like it was the high road. He has the opportunity to create a great candidate in Kanye. Obviously, he must have been disillusioned with Trump, or maybe he thought Kanye and Trump could come together, and like he thought this is the high road.
I think
Nick has been.
Yeah, that seems way too surface level. And again, this is why we like Ian on the show, because that's very surface level. Oh, well, maybe there was an opportunity. Like, nah, bro, you don't understand how these people work. Everybody is out to get theirs. Everybody, especially in politics, will cut your children's throats to get ahead. So I think they're about to disagree with him, but I don't think that was what's going on.
Wrong by the media.
I can't speak for Milo.
Oh, but what I wanted to say about Ian specifically is that I think a lot of people would have that opinion. And so now we're getting that opinion thrust in this specific panel so that they can respond to it. That's why we love Ian.
A significant amount of money that he feels that he had. This party said explicitly that he was responsible for Trump's presidency, which is not entirely crazy. He really was a critical figure, and he had nothing to show for it. And there was no sign of gratitude. You know, Trump is
Actually, I don't disagree with that. I entirely. Okay, I do disagree with that, but I don't think that it's a crazy thing for Kanye to think that he, you know, that when he donned that MAGA hat, that was definitely a big thing, and so you know that's up for debate, but fair point.
I don't know who this guy is, so I'm sure for him it feels hurtful and humiliating.
If Milo, he made a mistake, period, and it's unfortunate because either his mistake was letting his emotions drive him towards vengeance and an opportunity for reemergence, or he thought the path towards this was going to be to lining up with Ye.
Or maybe he thinks this is
Well, that brings up the notion again about why we're talking about everyone should be platformed. Is because simply having the ideas that he had was one thing. But then when you cancel him and you take deplatform him, now there's this whole other thing that not only is his original, his original idea is going to get magnified and polarized, but there's this vengeance. There's this chip on his shoulder that you want to get back at whoever, whoever. This is why cancel culture, all that shit is dumb.
the truth, and this he's fighting for what he views as the truth.
I think so because he's become deeply Christian lately, deeply religious, and Kanye is also, and so is Nick. Like they talk a lot about Christianity.
Or is this because he got cast out and was desperately trying to find something to be a part of again? And so, look, I
Yep.
can't speak for his experiences, but imagine you're a gay man who aligns with Trump. You've already cut your market share in half, your social circle. You're now in the Trump space. You're going to have trouble going to cities and going to your traditional gay club, which are going to have pride flags, be very leftist. Then the right casts you out, calling you a pedophile. Where does he go? So what happens? He says he renounces being gay. He still is attracted to men, but he's not going to act upon it. He's now set me free because he wants to follow the Lord. That sounds to me like it was like, humans need something.
Am I allowed to use vulgar language?
Yeah,
You can say whatever you want.
You can't unstuck those dicks.
Yeah, but you don't have to label yourself. I think that's what he's kind of getting away from, like identifying as a certain way.
No. He said he was still very much gay.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on this, Divine Around?
The media saying he wasn't gay anymore was not true. He said he was no longer going to act upon it. He was going to try and follow Christ.
It's strange. That was a big,
Yeah, he said he doesn't like women. He still very much likes men, but he is sodomy free.
Is he still married?
I don't think so.
He basically didn't work out for him. He tried that, and that's how he's run. He is gay, and this is like his struggle. But his struggle in life. He's a Catholic. He's gay, and that's overcome.
He came out as very genuine with that. 'Cause I thought he was going to literally pretend he's a hey. He was going to be, hey y'all, I'm straight now, and
I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see that. It does make a lot more sense for somebody who is Catholic and gay to be, accept the fact that this is what it is. I am attracted to if you're gay, the same sex. That doesn't line up with the values that I have. So this is a struggle similar to if you had an addiction of sorts. That this is not what if you're a Christian, it's not what God wants for you, but you like it. So that's your struggle. I think that's fair.
And I think there's a video of him coming out of straight where he kind of played into that a little bit, but that was a couple months ago. But on the show, he was like, "Hey guys, no, I'm being real," and it came off very genuine.
I feel like a lot of this is like, what do you do when you have nowhere to go, when you have no one, when there's no community for you anywhere? You find one.
Blame the Jews?
Apparently,
for blaming people for it.
I mean, he was interning for Marjorie Taylor Greene after being basically the dude who one of the most prominent figures in Trump's presidency. And then he gets like you made a really great point that he was abused as a kid, and he's talking about it, and everyone attacked him for being the victim. Like his view, they're like, how dare you support that? It's like he was a victim.
And that's because he said he liked it.
Is it something
So if you're not familiar, this was the thing that got Milo canceled.
like it helped him to understand? Do you remember
I
what
don't know the exact
happened?
verbiage. The thing is, the interview was like a year before it came out. It became a big thing. It was clearly pretty nuanced. Like maybe people didn't like that he was glib about it. But the point being, it was at the very least, he was someone who had things done to him that could not have been done to him. And even if his views were skewed, they were still informed by being someone who was the victim.
So Divine Rod said Tim knows who butters his bread. As for elaboration, said run the narrative, escape unbending or unbending. What does unbending mean? Escape unbending or deplatformed. In Milo's defense, he always said he would be a better person if he wasn't gay. Well, I mean, I think there's a laundry list of things that he could change about himself to be a better person before he gets to his sexual orientation. But fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm just saying, after that show he did and the response that we got from people, he probably could have found a really, really high-paying job, or at the very least was months away from. I mean, look, he could be back on Twitter tomorrow. But what the fuck has he done? Like he's look, Ye's a very powerful guy, but Ye is imploding. And Fuentes has always struggled because of the things we said and cancellations and everything. Why would Milo decide that after all this, like, I don't know, man.
I think because he was such a victim of cancel culture that he wants to help other people that he sees as victims of cancel culture, and so he's gravitated to those two guys. Yeah,
maybe he really is bummed because he thought this was going to work out for him. Maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I
again, little caveats like that. Little caveats like that. Talking about what it is that you believe, why you believe it, and then undercutting it and saying, I don't know everything. Somebody else in the comments of the last video came at me for actually two people brought up the fact that the IndianJesus is blasphemy. And I just want to explain that it's very deliberate that I had a controversial name to weed out the people who are not able to have difficult conversations. If you cannot abide by that, I completely understand. But if you can't abide by that, then I don't really know what it is that you think you're going to be able to affect in society, because people have different, very different ideologies and thoughts and beliefs. So it is what it is.
This idea that they were bringing up on the show the other day that people are finally rejecting the hypocrisy of who we're allowed to call out. When Ye brought up the Jews again, and then made this point about how, why is it that we can say the black vote, we can't say Jewish people?
All right. So now we're having the exact conversation that No Freedoms, just like Kanye, ran away from. So I'm hoping that No Freedoms is still here, because I do want to have this conversation. And no, saying I'm so smart that I just can't even stoop down to explain things is cope. That's a good one. That's a good one. Hey, we got Tyler Smith in the building. What is up, brother? Glad to see you. Glad you are here. We are just getting some new information about the Kanye Timcast debacle from the members only segment behind that paywall, where you cannot watch it for free without me. Welcome.
It's hypocrisy. You know, we can say there's white people here, but we can't say Jewish people are in the banks. MILO said,
Actually, yeah, I want to back that up again because this was an important point. This is specifically what we were just talking
and
about.
then made this point about how, why is it that we can say the black vote, but we can't say Jewish people? It's hypocrisy. You know, we can say there's white people here, but we can't say Jewish people are in the banks. MILO said it's a hypocrisy that people are starting to call out and they're wondering why they can't say these things. And I'm like, bro, you.
And that part, I agree with. Yes, there are certain groups that get special rights when it comes to the free speech and the types of reaction and social pushback that you'll get if you don't agree with them. No disagreement with that. I don't know how that connects to the Jews. I don't understand what it is that you are saying. And so when people like Kanye get up and walk out, people like Milo get up and walk out, people like No Freedoms and Arthur are making their point, and then they walk out. Well, don't be mad then when nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about. Put up or shut up.
You can say the black vote, and you can say the Jewish vote, and you can say the Mexican vote, and you can say the white vote, and you can say the female vote. But we're not saying black people secretly run the planet, but
Also,
trying to kill us and destroy our
there's
lives.
there's a little bit of disingenuousness.
Exactly. Here, one more time. What is the difference?
You know, we can say there's white people here, but we can't say Jewish people are in the banks. MILO said it's a hypocrisy that people are starting to call out and they're wondering why they can't say these things. And I'm like, bro, you can say the black vote, and you can say the Jewish vote, and you can say the Mexican vote, and you can say the white vote, and you can say the female vote. But we're not saying black people secretly run the planet and are trying to kill us.
So that is the difference. If you cannot, if you're so smart, but you can't even understand that point, even if you disagree with it, then fine, make your counter argument. But you say, no, you can't say this and you can't say that. I said good thing, you said bad thing. Get the fuck out of here. Grow up.
There's a little bit of disingenuousness because whether you agree or not, there's reasons to disagree. You can't pretend you don't understand why people are especially sensitive about it. Now you could say that the time has passed or it's ridiculous or whatever, but like, well, I don't know why this is such a taboo. You do know why.
So there's a meme. Someone said, if you insult Muslims, you fear for your life. If you insult the Jews, you fear for your job. If you insult Christians, you fear nothing. This is one viral on Twitter. But I always do this. People are like, why are you shilling some very shilling? Let me ask you a question. How many Muslims are there?
Oh, is it a billion?
1.6 maybe?
Yeah.
How many Christians are there?
Is it
2 billion?
Is it? Wait, I thought there's more Muslims than Christians. No, I'm 90% sure.
You want to pull it up?
I don't think
think it's even close.
So let's get the hard number.
The number's also going to change really rapidly with the rise of
The number?
India and China.
No. You guys look for Christian.
Okay, I'll get it in 2 seconds. 1.97 billion Muslims. Okay. Let's do global Christian population.
so 1.9.
2.2 billion.
Oh, wow.
Christians.
I was
So twice as many Christians as there are Muslims. Okay.
wrong again.
Do you know how many Muslim countries there are with a state religion? Is it 20? So around there. Do you know how many countries have a state religion of Christianity?
5.
0.
No,
Do you know-
Vatican's
no, it's a
going
lot.
to happen.
No, a lot. A lot have their state religion as Christianity.
Yeah.
Or they're considered nominally Christian nations through their population.
I mean, if I understand what he's saying, if I understand what he's saying, then we would consider America as a Christian nation. But if he is saying that it is specifically not like America, where most people are of the certain faith, but the government is involved, like they have the Church of England, that's a Christian nation. You know, I mean, I'm not great with geography, but you know, Rome is in Italy, so I'm going to assume that Italy is considered a Christian country. So not great wording there, but take it how you will.
How many Jews are on the planet?
It's going to be like 10 million?
If you want to do the diaspora and expand,
Yeah.
how many Jewish countries
There's
are there?
one.
Is there? You mean there's like one that's in conflict?
Israel, yeah.
Right, but it's in active conflict in Sicily.
Right.
And before its creation, how many were there?
0.
So what I tell people is, I think one of the
But they're taking over the world. They're taking over the world. 2% of the world. They're taking over.
reasons why people are sensitive to this is because for one, obviously World War II and all that shit, but also you're talking about a very, very small population, and like why Christians? Look, maybe it sounds woke or leftist, but Christians are all over. They're everywhere. Muslims are all over. They're everywhere. Jewish people are microscopic relative to these other Abrahamic religions.
Microscopic. So I'm going to try to dance around this. So while I'm reading this again, I don't really know what you mean. So if you could elaborate, I would very much appreciate that. So here's the counter: Mexicans, says Divining Rod, are dishonest. Blacks, says Divining Rod, are lazy and violent. Whites started slavery. Jews, he says, control the narrative, particularly in the media and finance. Say any of these and you're done. I agree. So again, we have Mexicans, blacks, whites, and Jews. We have 4 different racial groups here. I don't understand. I'm not trying to act like I'm smarter than everybody. I legitimately do not understand what the grievance is specifically with Jewish people. I just don't get it. And nobody has been able to explain it to me. The farthest anybody gets is, well, they're overrepresented in positions of power. Okay, what does that mean? Why is that a good or bad thing? So yeah, if you can elaborate on that, I would very much appreciate. Brain says Italy is a Catholic country. However, the Vatican, while in Rome, is considered a separate city-state. Interesting. But yeah, that's what I assumed. So what were they just saying?
Sounds woke or leftist, but Christians are all over. They're everywhere. Muslims are all over. They're everywhere. Jewish people are microscopic relative to these other Abrahamic religions. So that's whether you agree with that idea or not. I'm basically pointing out, like, that's the disparity as to why people are like, hey, don't get me wrong, you shouldn't fear for your life because you insult a Muslim. You shouldn't fear for your life because you insult anybody. But this is why, to your point, some people are sensitive to these issues.
But it's also the idea that there's lots of groups that if you insult, you have to do for your job. Like if you insult
Trans
gays,
people.
Exactly. So again, what is it about the Jewish people that what? Somebody connect the dots for me. I feel extremely stupid, and maybe I am. But if you don't explain it to me, then you're not any smarter. Or if you can't explain it.
gays, you insult for your job. There's lots of populations.
Black people.
Yeah.
Well, my question. Well, let me just point that out. Gay saying this about Jewish people. You know,
Like
like
Roseanne is a great example. I thought the bitch was white. She makes one joke about Valerie Jarrett. The show was called Roseanne, and they kicked her off.
And they called, and then the Connors, like, they had her die.
Yeah, they literally killed her.
There's that saying that people try and claim was Voltaire, but it wasn't. It was a white supremacist.
Right.
That if you want to learn who rules over you, look who you cannot criticize. And they put Voltaire on it, but it's actually that white supremacist.
Right. Voltaire would love that.
And no, he wouldn't, because seven-year-old disabled children don't run shit. If you go around saying fuck those burn ward children, people are going to be like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Like, you can't criticize child burn victims or child cancer.
So I
patients.
want to talk about the Jewish this thing.
So hold on, Divine Rod. Are you saying was this? Is meant to say you will never understand? Because I mean, what is it that? How much is it that you've had conversations with me and seen me talk about things that I don't understand very well with people who do understand them, and not understand things? Give it a shot. Give it a shot.
Like, is there a Jewish
Hold
mafia?
on. There was. But I didn't want to cut it off because it's like look at Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
You can't go after those.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I think all of us would agree, regardless of anything about Alex, it's not a good thing to be like you guys are lying. Your kids never got.
And they're like, why is it that
Another great point. Another great point. There's been school pew-pewings all over. But there's only one person who's getting sued for $1.5 billion for talking about conspiracies related to it. That's special pleading. Are we trying to say that the Sandy Hook people run the world? Like, make it make sense.
Tim, people were chatting. They were like, Tim bends over backwards to defend, Jews, but he calls out this group. I'm like, bro, I don't like anyone being disparaged based on immutable characteristic. I believe in meritocracy and individualism. That means You can be a gay, black, disabled, lesbian, Jewish woman, and all that matters to me is, do you support free speech? Are you going to fight? Are you going to defend the rights of individuals, or are you going to be a cultist who wants violence against other people?
What a bad faith actor. What a terrible ideology to have. I can't understand why anybody likes this guy.
I've heard that people say in Judaism that there's Judaism.
I'm
going to be visualizing your face in my dream tonight. That they say that goyim, which are the non-Jewish people, are
So actually, let's address this. Frank says anti-Semitism started with this supposed betrayal by Judas and kind of went out from there. Largely, from a historical perspective, easier to blame a small, fairly easy target for anything. So that sounds to me like anti-Semitism would be wrong. Just like, being anti-black would be wrong. But there's something different about the Jews, according to some of you. I'm still waiting. My mind is open.
they like dirty? Like, is there really a thing where they think that they're there to serve the Jewish faith and the Jewish people?
Okay, so this is what they're talking about the Talmud. The Talmud is, so in the Bible, the Torah, the Jewish Bible, there's 613 commandments. I forget how many there were. It's a crazy number.
Damn.
And they really break it down in insane ways. Like, for example, on Passover, you're not allowed to have bread in your house. Okay? What if you're sitting in your house and you see a mouse grab a crust of bread and go into the wall? Does this still count as not having bread in your house? Well, what if you see a white mouse run into the wall with a crust of bread, and then a black mouse with a crust of bread runs out of your house? Does that count? So they break down these laws in extreme minutia. And there's shit in the Talmud, apparently. I have not read it, because you have to read it in Aramaic, which isn't even Hebrew, that's never language. So there are these Talmudic scholars, but apparently these Semites also confirm to this day. And I guess there's things in there that are against the Christians, because it's written for the captivity. You're kind of this slave population. I don't know what's in there. I'm going to assume for the sake of argument that all that stuff is in there. I went to yeshiva Jew school. I have never in my life, and they're going to accuse me of lying, heard any of this idea that people who aren't Jewish are going to be my slaves or my servants or anything like this. This is me, my personal lived experience. Conquer stuff. I'm sure it's probably in there.
I have never even heard that was a thing. I've never even heard that was a thing. Mostly what I've heard about people who hold legitimately anti-Semitic beliefs think there is a cabal of people who are running the world and doing this. But I agree that is very likely how it is set up. But it's just that last step. I agree with you that there's a conspiracy cabal, but what is it? That makes him a fraud. That makes who a fraud? Yeah. See, I still don't. I don't know what you meant by this. And then you're all over the place. Hey, we got Publix in the building. Welcome. Says success breeds resentment. 100%. Therefore, overrepresentation in powerful and influential fields comes at the expense of other groups that would fill those same niches, whether in media, finance, academia, medicine, law, etc. I can understand that. I can understand success breeds resentment. I can understand, as I've said many times, that there's an overrepresentation of people who happen to be Jewish in these areas. What is not being explained by anybody is whether there's something, whether that is due to something nefarious, whether that is, they believe it's something due to someone being inherently Jewish, and there's something about being Jewish that automatically puts you in this category. I don't understand it. Re-up on the Mishnahs. Okay, what is the Mishnahs? I will definitely check it out. Yeah, I mean, make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense.
They're going to accuse me of lying. Heard any of this idea that people who aren't Jewish are going to be my slaves or my servants or anything like this. This is just me, from my personal lived experience. Conquer stuff. I'm sure it's probably in there. You want to hear it, Fred?
So, are you saying that Mishnahs is a word? I'm trying to look for your other one. What did you say? It's a word for so you ask me, name a group that has a term for their lessers. And then, oh, hey, Muslims, apostates. Boom, done. And then you come back to say, read up on Mishnahs, and those very people see you as less than. So, okay, if that is what it is, then what is the difference between being an apostate from the Muslim religion and being a Mishnah? If that's what I'm understanding, if that's, fuck it, let's do it. Mishnahs. Am I spelling that right? Mishnas. All right, what do we got? So it's Mishnah. Mishnah, study or study by repetition, from the verb to study and review. Also secondary. So that's probably is the first major written collection of Jewish oral traditions, which is known for the oral Torah. Is also the first major work of okay. Yeah, I don't really know what it is that you're. Yeah, but I mean, if that's what it is, if that's what we're talking about, that that's the word in Judaism for those who are seen as lesser than, then okay, I'm not a fan of that. Atheist over here. And so there's still that same piece missing of how this leads to saying the Jews are inherently, as these people think, bad. Frank says that can be said of any group. Exactly. There are a lot. Oh, how did I think of this? How did I not even think of this? There are a lot of Indian doctors. There's a lot of black people in rap, and there's a lot of Italians in the mafia. Good one. Yeah. Why is there no conspiracy about Indian people and either being doctors or owning gas stations or convenience stores or stuff like that? Because public says an overrepresentation in that powerful, influential field comes at the expense of other groups that would fill those same niches. And you even said medicine here. So why is it a problem? Why is it a problem if there's a lot of Jewish people who do well in these areas? It's not okay for that, but it's okay that Indian people tend to like, what are we talking about? So again, goy is the word they use for the Mishnah, or were you saying goy will never understand? Frank said, every gas station I go to is usually a Sikh, and I love those guys. I mean, even that, bro. Like, you don't know all Sikhs. You probably know a couple people who are cool who happen to be Sikh. This identitarian thinking is exactly what we're talking about. Is exactly the problem, exactly the disconnect. But I'm glad you enjoy some of. I think my family's Hindu, but I don't really know. But and I'm not picking on you. But I said Mishnah is a set of studies and dictates. Okay. And what is it that you're trying to tell me? If you're bringing this up midstream, I obviously can't read up on it midstream. So if we're talking about it, then you gotta give me the elevator pitch. If you've read up on it, then you should be able to be like, oh, it's this.
Just like in the Bible, God tells people to literally eat shit. You want a Bible poop? Where's that come?
You want to hear a joke?
Sure.
A priest, a rabbi, and an imam. And how about this? An imam, a priest, and a rabbi walk into a bar.
Yeah.
I love that joke.
Right?
That's what that's exactly what we're talking about. The joke works. It's not really that funny, but it works because it's so ridiculous that would be a punchline. Listen to it again. It's not anything.
You want to hear it?
It's not anything groundbreaking. He's not gonna kill at even an open mic with this. But listen to the concept.
Just like in the Bible, God tells people to literally eat shit. You want a Bible poop? Where's that come?
You want to hear a joke?
Sure.
A priest, a rabbi, and a mom. And how about this? And a mom, a priest, and a rabbi walk into a bar.
Yeah.
Because they want to.
A mom, a priest, and a rabbi walk into a bar because they're friends. What? You mean people who don't think exactly the same thing and have the same immutable characteristics can be friends? No. So the Mishnah is flatly put, it says what age you can have sex with a child. Yikes. But also, how old was I think it was Aisha? Is that her name? When Muhammad married her, I believe she was 9. There's plenty of incestuous CP and stuff in the Bible. So I'm looking for what stands out about Jewish people. What stands out that you, Kanye, anyone else needs to put them in their sights? What is it that they are doing? What is it that they are doing to affect your life? And what is it that is nefarious that you need to stop? Nobody is giving those answers. Frankie says, no, you actually got what I was trying to say. I can't assume every single Sikh is cool as... Yeah, I know. I was just giving you shit. But I figured worth pointing out that, like, even saying, oh, I love black people. Like, that's a weird sentence to say. Oh, I love gay people. That's a weird sentence to say. And it comes back to viewing people as a homogenous group instead of individuals. And I just don't think that's good overall. Full stop.
Okay.
I love that show.
Okay,
Still laughing. They're just laughing at.
but how? How is he muddying the waters? You said that 3 times now. How is he muttering the waters? I understand what muddying the waters means. I'm not saying he's not muddying the waters. I'm asking you, what is the claim that you are making that he said that is muddying the waters?
I'll laugh. All right, last question for Oregon. Is there a Jewish mafia? So there used to be?
So the mafia used to be heavily Jewish. Like people think it's the Italian mafia. It was like Meyer Lansky, all these organizations, and they were the ones behind organized crime. It's called Murder Inc.
So I can title this segment, Malice talks about the Jewish mafia, says it's real.
Sure.
Now, I guess the question is there a Jewish mafia running banking industry?
If I went down this rabbit hole. Someone's like, look up who runs the banks. And I'm like, so I looked up the 10 biggest banks in America, and I looked up who all their CEOs were. And I thought, all right, it's going to be like 9 or 10 Jews. Everyone reading this should go for themselves. I don't remember.
Oh, that I already. I thought he was going to come up with something. But yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about the overrepresentation part. So again, muddying the waters. Sometimes evil people use their fellow population to hide behind. I agree with the statement, but how is that Tim muddying the waters?
Remember how many it was, but it was not a huge number. Not a huge number. No.
Is James P. Gorman
Probably.
Jewish?
Look at his Wikipedia.
With man.
Go look at the 10
Yep.
biggest banks.
Everybody. Well, actually, I don't know.
Morgan Stanley. He's from Melbourne, Australia. He's the CEO and chairman of Morgan Stanley. He's a dual citizen, lives in Manhattan. I don't think it says anything about
We'll
whether
stay under upbringing. It's very tough. Early life.
early life.
Let's
Right.
see. JP Morgan.
Xavier College.
Jewish
Actually,
or not?
Xavier's Catholic.
Uh-oh.
Is he Jewish?
It's the Catholics. Seamus all along. Seamus has been pulling his hair this whole time.
It's not the Black Israelites, they're the real Jews.
And another
Seamus
issue.
does have very shifty eyes.
Another
So if you missed that little comment, Michael Malice just made that comment about the Black Israelites are the real Jews. I think, because I just don't understand, I think that is where the answers that I'm looking for lie. The what it is that Black Hebrew Israelites think. I don't know enough about them or the Hoteps, but I think that is where this mentality, specifically from Black people, comes from. But I don't know what it is that you think. What is the ideology? What is it?
issue is that you could be born Jewish culturally to Jewish parents' bloodline, but not practice the Jewish religion.
Right.
So I think that
Whoa.
they're different things. They should have different names. Like,
Ryan Moynihan is the CEO of America, and Moynihan, that's a Jewish name, right?
Oh, very
Yiddish.
yeah.
Moynihan.
Moynihan.
He's Irish. I think he's.
Okay. So Publix now has is getting us a step closer. Says the implication often made is that Jews practice in higher levels of nepotism than any other group, reinforcing their hierarchy, position, and status. So, okay, that's a hardy claim. And if this is something that you view as, nepotism in and of itself is a bad thing, okay, then now I'm understanding. Okay, you don't like that there's so much nepotism here. Nepotism exists everywhere. What do you think generational wealth is? What do you think the whole Occupy Wall Street and everything economic since then has been about? It's the fact that people pass money down and put people like Hunter Biden in positions that they have no business being in because of nepotism. So for this to be directly connected to anti-Semitism, it would have to be a level of nepotism that is so much higher than other groups, discounting the fact that they are a very small group and people tend to look after their own. This is not, I mean, I would say only in America is it not a standard kind of value or ritual that you would pass down your success to your children in the term, and specifically not just money, but I mean in terms of positions and companies and things like that. So this is a good answer. This is getting me closer. But I don't. If that's it entirely, then that's not a thing. That's a nothing burger. Myron said, Tim, Michael, and yourself are refusing to address the exact issues by muddying the waters, be counterpointing with other. Okay, but what? So what is what is it that I'm not addressing? You said not addressing the exact issues. Okay, what is the exact issue that I'm not addressing? And why is counterpointing with other groups not relevant? We're talking about a specific group and what they do, and this is and people are saying it's bad because this group does this. This group is uniquely bad because this group uniquely does this. So it is 100% relevant to be talking about other groups. But let's stick with, so Tim, myself, and Michael Malice all are refusing. Refusing is a conscious thing, so that would mean that I know what the exact thing is, and I'm purposely avoiding it, which I would hope you know by now that that's not how I roll. I am very happy with putting my opinion out there, even if you guys hate it. This whole show. But yeah, okay. So when the last time someone had everything canceled for criticism of a specific group? I mean, we see. So this is how is that not muddying the waters in the same way that you just said? You said I'm muddying the waters by bringing up other groups. So are you walking that back and saying that we're not muddying the waters because now you're bringing up separate groups? Yeah, I'm not really sure. Yeah, exactly. But it was that was a Jewish thing though. That was a Jewish thing though, and she didn't even know the person was right, or was she black? I forget. I don't remember. But okay. So yeah, I mean, this is not. I'm sorry, but this is just not a number one. It flies in the face of your comment about muddying the waters because now you're making the comparison with other groups. You are bringing up the other groups, so it can't be muddying the waters for me to be addressing the specific words you are saying. So again, what is the exact issue that Tim, Michael, and myself are refusing to address? What are the exact issues? And you say I'm getting closer, but you don't think that's splitting hairs a little bit? Like, okay, she didn't get debanked. But what I don't and okay, so what so elaborate, please. What is the significance of her not getting her bank canceled? I'm not playing stupid, guys. I might be dumb, but if you just say the things, I will understand. So Roseanne didn't get her her banking canceled. Okay, what is that? How is that relevant to the direct thing that we're talking about? You asked for other people, getting canceled. Frankie gave you 2 examples. So now you're shifting the goalpost. Because right, you didn't specifically say that, right? Oh, it's too far up, but I'm pretty sure you didn't specifically say name someone who got debanked. I think you said name somebody who got canceled, and she was definitely deplatformed. This was also earlier on with cancel culture in general, where debanking in and of itself is a newer tactic. All the Canadian truckers got debanked. That didn't have anything to do with Judaism as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So, so why is her banking not getting canceled relevant to what we're talking about? You asked for names. You got a name. And then you move the goalpost. Unless I'm not understanding that is not a reasonable answer, because I need you to fill in that blank. Otherwise, you're just moving the goalpost. Frank says Kanye got his account frozen because of $50 million in unpaid taxes, and as his sponsor dropped him, the IRS wanted their money. Yeah, he talked about that himself. He talked about how with the Balenciaga and Adidas, they slapped this this IRS bill with him when the marketing account. I don't know the whole situation, but that's what he said. And I'm pretty sure that Kanye has said anti-Semitic type things before, maybe not as drastic as DEFCON 3, but he didn't get canceled then. So again, I don't understand what it is that y'all are even talking about. I mean, I'm with Frankie. I understand what Frankie's saying. Help me out, guys.
He went to Notre Dame.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the CEOs of the banks that are running.
I think he's Irish Catholic.
I
No,
really
they're
think the
Catholic.
CEOs are the ones running the
They're
bank.
hired to run. I guess you say run them, but they're not like
They're running
control of them.
they're-
Jamie,
They're in control of it.
I don't know how much of it they
That's what
own.
the E stands for.
The CEO even has authority over, like,
The
it can
owner.
be complicated.
Oh, Ian, come on, man. That was rolling a 1.
But the owners are the shareholders. The shareholders elect board members.
Right.
Board members hire CEOs, and that means if you're not in a voting period, CEOs, the board can do shit. The
Yeah.
CEO is like in charge.
But the
and doesn't
CEO is
want-
hired by the owners.
No,
Run the
no,
company
no,
for a
it's hired by the
certain
board.
time.
There's
The board.
owners.
The board is part
Well,
of the
there-
ownership.
there's the shareholders.
Right. It's not like this.
The shareholders have nothing to do with the day-to-day. The board doesn't either. The board, when they vote, and that's what executes.
Yeah, but if the owner doesn't turn CEO, then you were the owner considering doing that, and then you
You are
can't be
changing the
owner.
subject.
I'm saying just because the guy's a CEO doesn't mean he runs the company. He might be executing
Ian, that's literally what CEO means.
current mandates and shit, but the owners are the people that
Who owns Bank of America?
I don't know.
The
How do you do
share.
that?
Hey, we got Lil Toes in the building. How the hell do you not know who Tim Pool is after last night? Tim Pool is the host of this show, Timcast IRL. Last night he had Kanye West, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Nick Fuentes on his show. Kanye, they wanted to talk about the dinner they had with Trump, but Kanye wanted to jump right into the claims of anti-Semitism. And when that got a tiny little bit of pushback, saying when he said they, like, oh, what do you mean they? And then he walked out. So Tim has had huge names on his show, and the conversations that they have are extremely relevant to the culture that we find ourselves in. No goalpost moving here. Moshe made a racial comment, loses show. Ye speaks out, and it's scorched earth policy. Mind you, in a country with free speech. That I don't disagree with what you're saying, but that absolutely is moving the goalpost. You said name somebody, and you got somebody who was named. So when we say that this is literally, or no, what was it? She didn't get, when you said she didn't get debanked, that's the definition of moving the goalpost. You asked for a thing, you got the thing, and then you move the goalpost to something else. But if you're just continuing the conversation and saying that cancel culture in and of itself is ramping up, I definitely agree with that. But it's again, it just, there's no connection there. There's no connection to free speech, cancel culture, wokeness, all of this, and Jewish people. You're connecting dots that are not there. And if they're there, then just point them out to me. Long story short, Ye wanted to come on the show and kind of just have a platform to just speak openly, and that's not really what the show is. It's more of a conversational. There was 5 people there, and they wanted to talk about the news. It's a news show, not a a personality podcast. So Tim wanted to run the show as he normally does, and Kanye didn't want to do that, and he he's like, all right, well, then what the fuck am I doing here if I can't just speak what I want to say? Which I think was extremely telling and showing for who he is as a person in the context of politics. The man is running for president. If you can't handle somebody asking, "What do you mean by they?" And then previously, you told me that, well, when you get famous, then you stop growing and you just go from handler to handler to handler. And I got famous at 24, so I've just been bouncing around. Those are 2 very strong reasons that I do not want you running my country. But yeah, it's usually a 2-hour podcast. They went and it got to 21 minutes, and he just walked out. And then Milo was with him, and he went, and Nick Fuentes left as well. And all because he couldn't have a civil conversation.
Go BlackRock, yeah.
And what percentage do they own?
18, 19.
They can't affect operations. They can vote to elect board members. The board then convenes.
All right.
Or it depends on the corporate structure. It's very possible that Bank of America's corporate bylaws specifically say the chairman has supreme authority to fire the CEO at a moment's notice. Maybe. But it's very, very unlikely in most corporate structures. The board,
especially when you're dealing with an organization aside
Agreed, Publix.
like Citigroup, it's
Right.
going to be, they want stability.
Right. So what happens is the board will convene at certain points in the year. Sometimes they're not even paid. They will then say, I think we should have this person be the CEO. And they do. The CEO then is the chief executive officer who has final say on everything. In fact,
I can't believe they're still talking about that. So as I said previously, Demiro said everything cancel as opposed to run-of-the-mill canceling. So again, as I said previously, I agree with that escalation. I agree. You're still missing the part where the Jews are doing it. You're missing that part. That's the part that you're not explaining. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. I am asking you what it is that you think. And why it can't be that somebody is getting canceled years ago and run-of-the-mill canceling, and then more recently, as cancel culture itself has ramped up in general, nothing to do with Judaism, it's just ramped up. That is exactly what we would expect to see. No, he calls himself a milquetoast fence sitter. He was liberal back in the day. He's definitely more of a right-leaning centrist type. He has a lot of social liberal ideas, but that's really what I like about Tim is that he is he obviously has his opinions and his biases, but he's very honest and transparent about those. And I think he has a good take on a lot of things. And he, the dots that I'm asking y'all to connect, he is very good at doing that. Is taking the random stories here, random story there, and connecting them, and determining that there is in fact a larger narrative going on. His famous thing is being the one who called the fact that we're heading to civil war. All right, I'm missing it. Okay. One made a racial state. I understand that, bro. Oh my God. So you're saying nobody who is every single person who has had their bank canceled was specifically canceled for a Jewish person? Is that the claim? I understand there's a ramping up. You're missing the part about the Jewish stuff. So unless you are claiming that only people who have been canceled because of anti-Semitism are getting their banks canceled, then okay, we can look into that. That's a claim that can be verified. And if that is the truth, then okay, sure, there is a problem to be discussed there. But as I just brought up, a bunch of the January 6 people had their banks canceled. A bunch of the Canadian truckers had their banking canceled. And none of that had to do with anti-Semitism. It just didn't.
The person who actually runs the company is not the CEO. Do you know who it is? The COO.
Right.
The Chief Operating Officer.
Podium guy. This guy. Oh, come on. Jesus Christ. Oh, for fuck's sake. How do I? This guy. What is his name? Adam Johnson. For this picture. Okay. So it had nothing to do with Judaism. It had to do with the fact that he was in the Capitol building on January 6th. I mean, he's actually a pretty cool dude, and he's been on the show, and I mean, he's kind of goofy, but I mean, nothing to do with Judaism. You just shoot, y'all are just shooting blanks. Everything that you bring up doesn't align with what the claim that you're making.
Officer actually takes all the actions to execute the vision of the CEO. But the CEO typically might not even be involved in day-to-day operations. They usually are, but it's probably like this. The COO says,
okay, fair. If we want to take the Canadian things out of it, then let's go back to Podium Guy. Again, you said name one other person who had their banking canceled. And I'm sure I know for a fact, I can't think of any names off the top of my head, but I've heard of other people. And then Alex Jones, I'm pretty sure, was debanked for a short period of time. I could be wrong about that. And he says wild shit about everything. Hey, Stop Myrtle and Animal Torture is back. Welcome. Said freezing bank accounts for being charged with crimes. How often is that done? Not very often, but it's happening more and more and more. And I guess the claim from some people is that that has to do with Jewish stuff, Jewish people, Jewish whatever. But I'm open to that hypothesis. I'm just asking for the evidence, and nobody can give it to me. Hey, we got Celibate Scorpion in the building. What is good, girl? Welcome. Yeah, just doing a little bit of an update. I'm still trying to figure out why it is that people hate the Jews. I do not understand. And keep in mind, you're mentioning people who have broken the law. Okay. And you asked, name one other person who has had their banking canceled. Your claim, from what I'm understanding, because you can't actually articulate it and say what your claim is, what I think you're trying to get at is that if you go after Jewish people, then that is the situation in which your banking will be canceled. Whereas if you go against black people or LGBT or women or immigrants or anything else, then you're just going to get taken off of social media. Can you even give me a yes or no? Is that your claim? Yes or no? It's very difficult to understand what you're saying when you have these half things. You keep throwing out these saying things, claims, and then not backing them up. I am here trying to have the conversation with you. Yes. How is this not exactly what I said and just a ramping up of cancel culture. I agree with Stop. I'm gonna call you Stop. I think I said that last time, right? I think it has to do with state cancellation. It's much. Yep. See, I brought that up earlier as well, Scorpion. But apparently, the Canadians don't count. And Frankie brings up a great point here. Mel Gibson didn't get his bank account frozen. Why was that? Were the Jews not in charge when that was going down? Or are we just seeing a ramping up of wokeness and cancel culture? I don't know what the state or those that control it want people canceled and they get their banks taken. Yeah. Frankie also said, don't forget he owed taxes and the feds say, pay me. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, well, it wasn't necessarily the Passion of the Christ. It was everything surrounding the Passion of the Christ and how it came out that it was, in fact, very obviously and clearly anti-Semitic. But, as Frankie points out, his bank account wasn't frozen. So, Divine Around, why is it that Mel Gibson was way more, before the DEF CON Kanye tweet? You know, since then, Kanye just leaned into it. But before that, like I said, I think I've heard a couple things here and there about him talking about, we're the real people. I can't be anti stuff like that. But just kind of here and there. This wasn't like his hill to die on. But it would only make sense that if this is how the Jews operate, then Mel Gibson would have been caught up. Stop says PayPal is trying to force people to be silent, taking their money. I heard a little bit about that. That's something maybe we gotta look into. And yep, Alex, we have more referencing of the Canadian truckers and protesters that had, but for whatever reason, Divine Rod claims that's different. I don't know why. He's just said it, but if he would like to clarify, I would love to understand. Let's see.
Here, we're gonna do all these things. I'm gonna go meet with these managers. You get off your ass, start filing those paperwork. Hey, over here. And he calls up the CEO and says, "We got this done. We got this done. We got this done. We got this done. Looks good. See you tomorrow for a call."
Yeah, the CEO's been delegated to make decisions for everybody, basically. As long as they have that role.
Has the final say on everything. The chief operating officer actually takes the actions of the COO, of the CEO, and the CEO runs it. The board members can eventually vote to fire the CEO later. And then the shareholders can say, that was a huge fuck up. We're voting the board out. The shareholders are the owners of the company. Board members are there to represent the shareholders and decide who should be running management and things like that.
Twitter, for instance, Dorsey, I think they rehired him as the CEO at some point.
And he didn't do anything.
He only owned like 3% of the company at the time. He had no power. He was the CEO, he had no power. So you can don't look at Dorsey's race or religion and say that Twitter's that race company because the CEO is that race. That's not right.
Oh, I completely agree. I think it's insane that they're like, Elon Musk works for the Jews. And I'm like, BlackRock.
Wait. No. Okay, so if you can't look at the CEO or COO of Twitter to determine whether or not this person is Jewish, who would you want to look at to determine that the Jews are running Twitter?
Look, hold on. I was typing something. I apologize. I want to hear that again. It seemed like a very pointed question. And for those of you who are, laughing at how dumb and ignorant I am about this, then this should be a very easy answer, or excuse me, a very easy question for you to answer.
So, if you can't look at the CEO or COO of Twitter to determine whether or not this person is Jewish, who would you want to look at to determine that the Jews are running Twitter?
Look.
I need to hear that again. I don't know. I don't fully understand the question, but I'm looking for an answer. So
Wait. No.
Okay, so let's take it.
If you can't look at the CEO,
if you can't look at the CEO
or COO of Twitter to determine whether or not this person is Jewish,
so if you can't look at the CEO to determine if they're Jewish,
who would you want to look at to determine that the Jews are running Twitter?
Look.
See, I don't even understand the question, because I don't understand how looking at Jack Dorsey or Parag or Elon and determining that they are Jewish by looking at them. I don't get the second part of the question. Who would you want to be determining? So again, I'm not here trying to say that I have all the answers, that I am preaching to you guys. We're learning together. We're learning together. Exactly, Divining Rod. That is my fucking point. That is exactly my point. So why are things ramped up now and not then, if the amount of power that Jewish people had didn't change? It would only make sense that if there was a Jewish conspiracy to debank people who spoke out against Jewish people, then Mel Gibson would have been, and Charlie Sheen as well, would have been debanked. But people weren't doing that back then. And as you say, that was years ago, before things were ramped up. So I agree with you, but you are attributing the ramping up to Jewish people, and you have yet to explain why. Truckers were violating laws, yet they're no, they weren't. And the government took action. Ye voices opinions, free speech, not breaking any laws, and gets massively canceled. Well, I mean, I am not in favor of him or anybody getting deplatformed, but using a military term in the same sentence as talking about any group of people on Twitter, of all places, is absolutely going to be seen as hate speech. Regardless of what you think about hate speech, if it's a real thing or it's not, you know they do. So this is cope. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they'll ask. So if you can't look at the CEO and determine they're Jewish, who would you want to look at? One more time, and then we'll keep going.
If you can't look at the CEO or COO of Twitter to determine whether or not this person is Jewish, who would you want to look at to determine that the Jews are running Twitter?
So that's an either or. Either you're able to look at the CEO and see they're Jewish, or you have some other reason to determine that the Jews are in power. That's what he is saying. No, it doesn't. Well, it depends on what you're talking about, because free speech as a concept absolutely covers all speech, but free speech as a law definitely doesn't. No. I mean, well, so stop us saying with the DEFCON 3 thing. I have no problem with him saying it. I absolutely do not agree that he should have been deplatformed for that. I am saying that the people who saw that and had an issue with it, it's not surprising that that was their reaction. It's not some, I mean, is this really what you think, Divining Rod, that happens on Twitter? That all speech is free speech? And like, that's what we're talking about. That's semantic. When did I give a no true Scotsman? But so how? So you can't make make a threat. In this is just stupid, bro. This is just stupid. Threats are not speech. Well, what is speech then? If we're not talking about words that you come out of your mouth or you publish, then you're just having semantic bullshit. Well, technically, speech requires. Come on, you're better than this, bro. Stop getting so defensive. Stop trying to win an argument and just have a conversation with me. We're friends. It's cool. But you're trying to beat me. I'm not trying to win anything. I'm just trying to learn. You claim that you have all the answers, so I'm asking for those answers. You can say whatever you want. It doesn't mean I have to do business with you or even listen. Facts. Scorpion says, Elon is suspicious to me. His 5G satellites and Neuralink chips, SpaceX working with NASA, his Mars mission, the AI, now he buys Twitter. Are these not all wonders as described in Revelations as the Antichrist? Maybe. You guys know I don't really think of things like that. But this brings up another fantastic point, because I don't think that Elon Musk is Jewish, is he? Could be. I genuinely don't know. But I don't think he is Jewish. So he's got all of this going on. But the Jews are in power and doing... see, but that's not what you said. That's not what you said. You said threats are not speech. So I agree. Threats are not covered by the legal. Okay, I mean, fair enough. If you're here not getting defensive and you're cool with this, I do want to continue this. I like this, but I want to I want to make sure that they're he definitely is African American. Yep. It sounds fake. I don't know. Does that sound fake? That sounds like a pretty regular last name. Stomp said he should have known, but he probably did and said, "Fuck it, it's my right." With Kanye, I mean, it's not your right though. As much as I hate the private company argument, because Twitter and all of them are deeply in bed with the government, the fact is the rules are there. It's not like this is something out of the blue. As we've all acknowledged, cancel culture has been ramping up for years. Ranky says, I should be in power. Hookah, gummies, and wine for everyone. Cheers to that. And see, Scorpion comes in, doesn't even know the rest of what we've been talking about, and already can drop answers. Well, some African-American tribes are said to be the lost tribes of Israel. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. So if they're the lost tribes of Israel, then that would make sense to me that there is a conflict between the two groups. So why isn't anybody, at least in not mainstream, but as mainstream as a 10,000 subscriber YouTube channel? Where are the explanations of why the fact that the African American tribes are said to be the lost tribes of Israel have a grievance with Jewish people? That's just something I'm ignorant about, and I'm interested to learn. But I try watching all these things, and everybody is just saying things. They're just claiming the things that they're claiming, and nobody is giving any answers. And so when that happens, then as a rational person, my assumption is that you're full of shit. That not that this isn't true, but that it has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. Hug says Elon is a welfare queen. He owns private companies that love public dollars. Yeah, but that's the Democratic government. They're providing all of this welfare. So, like Trump said when Hillary said you don't pay his taxes, that makes me smart. Like shit, would you pay any money that you don't have to pay? Would you take free money from the government? Did you get your stimulus check over lockdown? How's that any different?
The company is a Jewish company.
Yes.
Before the show, I made a point about cancellation or something. I can't remember who it was. And then Ye immediately went like, that's just like what the Zionist Jews do. And I went, you mean the woke SJWs? Because these are white people. They're like white secular city people. And then he just like shrugged it off, I guess. But I immediately was like, is that what he thinks? He thinks that the white American secular people are Jewish people.
But there's a lot of overlap. He's not entirely wrong. You're going to have a lot of Jewish population in these cities. You're going to have a lot of Jewish representation when it comes to wokeism. But to have those things.
So going back to what Scorpion said, if the understanding is that Black people are the true chosen people, and that who is referred to as Jewish people would be in the same category as somebody like myself, just a secular person. Okay, I guess I can understand that. There's a group of what Scorpion says is evil Jewish elite who claim they are the only chosen ones and thus should run the world. I believe those are the Jews Kanye is referring to. Nobody else could just say this. Nobody else could say it. All you know all about the Mishnahs and the Khazars, and you couldn't just say this? This makes perfect sense to me. I don't agree with it, but it makes sense. I mean, internally, it is logical. If you think that is what is happening, then the things Kanye's talking about make sense. This is all I was asking for. I think this is ridiculous, but just as much as I think that Christianity is ridiculous, I can understand where people are coming from. Yeah, the PPPs were definitely a scam. And how many people took those? It's very interesting how people will yes, bro. That's all it took. I was asking you direct questions. If you would just answer the questions, that's all it took. That is all it took. A direct answer. Why is it that people think that Jewish people are bad? This is an answer. Again, I disagree with this, but now I can understand that this is the position that people like yourself and Kanye are holding. That's all I was asking for. So going back to the PPP loans, this is exactly what you're giving Elon shit for. But everybody did it, and seems to me like Elon is doing a lot more in terms of moving society forward than random dude down the street who took a PPP loan who didn't really need it. It's all relative. Synagogue of Satan. Nope. Stav said it's not a group. It's their religion. Yep. Don't do this. Don't do this. I will give you $1,000 if you can screenshot where you said this. I will give you $1,000. Go ahead. You did not say this 1,000 times. Maybe you thought you were expressing it. I understand that you were having the conversation, you were engaging with it. But that is why I asked you specific pointed questions. And then you could say something else instead of just answering the question and having the conversation.
Things be regarded as synonymous is not true.
My point is that when we talk about the woke cult, there's black people.
Yes.
There's people of all different backgrounds. When he hears that, he just hears it's all Jewish people. That's the problem
So
with what he's saying. He can't understand.
In their worldview, there's three types of people. There are people like them who understand the Jewish problem.
I don't know what that means, so I'm not going to put it up, but I'm scared it's some anti-Semitic thing.
They're the Jews who are running everything, and they're people who are Jewish controlled. Yeah. So of those two groups, only
Not that
those
you
two
are,
groups, of the three, only two really understand or have minds of their own. And it's like, this is not falsified.
Wait, I'm going to run that back. But actually, as I say that, that is an important point to bring up. I don't think that anybody who has who holds the opinion that there is a Jewish, specifically Jewish cabal, people doing this, that, the other, I don't think that you're inherently a bad person. I just think you're wrong. And so there's a difference between being wrong and being bigoted. Because if you're wrong, you're merely wrong, then you're doing things that are untoward, but at least your intentions aren't as nefarious as somebody who is being openly bigoted. Oh man. Yeah, so that I think those are two separate things. So you can think that this is that is the case, and I believe you can think that this is the case without being someone who is bigoted towards Jewish people. I think those things can exist at the same time. I think there's probably a huge overlap, but it makes sense. Scorling goes on to say there's a difference between the Jewish religion and the Jews who run most of the world, which are referred to as Zionists. Again, more direct information. This is what I was looking for. Divine and Rod, where were you with Zionists and Jewish religion. You're like Superwoman on this stream, you know? I mean, given the answers, nobody else can. So that again, that makes a little more sense, you know, putting the pieces together. But why then is it not? Why is Zionist not the word that people use? Why do they go straight to Jewish, Jews, all of that? Because this seems like a very important thing to. Oh, divine and rod. This seems like a very important distinction to make if you are presenting this idea to people who are not familiar with it. Zionist means supporting Israel. And so, okay, so now we're getting further into the actual argument. So if the general you, if them, they, whoever is saying this, that there is Zionists who are running the world, but Zionist means just supporting Israel, then that would mean that you're claiming that everyone who supports Israel is a Zionist, which is, by your definition, part of this cabal. Akon was a Jewish dude. He went to Israel twice a year. Was he a Zionist? Was he a part of the cabal? Frankie clears something up here. It says Zionist means a movement for originally the reestablishment and now the development and protection of a Jewish nation. And as they brought up before, there's only one, and it is in conflict. So just from an outside perspective, it seems like, hey, maybe it's not that bad that Jews have a place. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it seems like to me. Scorpion says a lot of Christians believe Zionist refers to being pro-chosen ones, kingdom of God, and yes, pro-Israel. Well, your definition meaning the one that you gave. Like if you define the word ball as a round thing, that's your definition. I'm saying, but fair enough. And so like we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. And I'm not seeing the connected piece where this is you know, having these beliefs. Because let's not act like Christians don't believe that they're the ones going to heaven and everybody else is going to hell. So again, we have a similarity with a group, and one is determined to be ruling the world, and one is just the best thing ever. Goes on to say, but it is known that there's a counterfeit version of the Zionists, like the other guy who said are actually of the synagogue of Satan, the ones running the world. Okay, well, I've never heard of the synagogue of Satan. If anybody has something I could look up, I would definitely be interested in learning more about this. But just seems like if there was any weight to this conspiracy, like, I don't know, all the conspiracies that I was perpetuating, they came true. I was right. So how are we having this argument for decades and decades and decades and decades, and it doesn't connect? And I understand if you believe that there is that a group, then okay, I understand that that's your position, but you know, in asking you to explain, you're not doing a great job of you're doing a great job of explaining what it is that you believe, but not why it is the correct thing to believe. Frankie said, so there's only one Jewish state and everyone is hostile and does not want them around, but they also don't want them to have their own country. So what's the option? Well, Hitler had one. How did that go? I certainly wouldn't want to be put in the same box as Hitler at all. And that's not the what's the thing called with where every argument devolves into Hitler? Like we're literally specifically talking about the Jews. So all right, can I? That's a fucking annoying. Is this something we can look at, or is this something that I gotta like? I'm gonna have to read on my own. Now you know why those Hebrew Israelites are pissed off. Well, I think so. Based on what Scorpion is saying, they are pissed off because they believe that they should be the chosen people, and these other groups of people are being treated as such. I mean, is that accurate? So we're gives a Bible verse here. All right, Revelations 2:9 says, "I know thy works and works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan." We're getting all the way back to why do I care what the Bible says? But in terms of understanding, this is definitely helpful. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head in terms of helping me understand the position, and I very much appreciate that. Well, it says Synagogue of Satan is a video based off the Protocols of Zion, found only on BitChute. YouTube banned that a long time ago. Fair. Counterfeit. All right. Okay. So I'm getting a better understanding. I still don't agree, but better
Did you
understanding.
hear what he said? He was like, "Look at Obama. Rahm Emanuel's right there. Trump, Jared Kushner's right there." And I'm like, "Congratulations, you played. Where's the Jew? I guess. What does that mean?"
But they also didn't have equivalent positions, so it would make more sense to compare Rahm Emanuel, who's chief of staff, to Reince Priebus, who's chief of staff. So
You know what? I
It's,
just
it's,
and it's
I'm
also
sorry.
I also love the idea that Obama and Trump each had like one person that they listened to, and that one person would happen to be the Jewish person in the White House. Like what?
Like there was no cabinet, there were no advisors. Trump never hired Bolton. Bolton must be Jewish.
Yeah, it's just the Zionists.
Sheldon Adelson was secretly in control of everything the whole time.
I get concerned that thinking that there could possibly be a group of people that control and own BlackRock, State Street, like literally like a small group, 10 people, and that to think that they might be of a certain religion, and then they're like, no, if they're not of our religion, come out of here. We don't want them. Like that's disgusting. But then I'm hearing all these crazy conspiracy theories, and they're like, last week's conspiracy theory is tomorrow's news, and I'm like, am I going to find out that there was like a religious cabal that was excluding people of the non-religion? Like, I don't want that to be the case.
But the people that you're worried about, these kind of internationalist globalist Jews, they are much more concerned with this kind of progressive internationalist globalist ideal than with their kind of Jewish identity. That's the kind of another thing that people like Kanye get wrong. When you look at the people who go to Davos, the World Economic Forum, their allegiance
I agree, Scorpion.
isn't to someone who's orthodox, someone who's got the yarmulke on, or the Ben Shapiro's of the world. Not at all. Their allegiance is to their own power.
Absolutely. 100%. Hit the nail on the head. But this is my point, guys. This is my point. She said, I don't think Tim Pool was aware of Kanye's beliefs on the Zionist conspiracy. Neither was I. Neither were most of the people who were listening to that conversation. What could have happened if he actually had some balls to sit and explain himself, then maybe we wouldn't be thinking that we were just talking of the religious Jews. How is that not the situation? Because a bunch of you said that Tim was the one who, did wrong here, and Kanye came out and da-da-da-da-da. I'm not saying that he needs to go on the show to do that, but I'm saying if he is going to go on the show, and Scorpion can I mean, nothing against Scorpion. I'm not saying like you're dumb or anything. I'm just saying like one of regular people can point out that Tim thought he was speaking of regular Jewish people, the religious Jews. So did I. Most people don't even know that there is another aspect to this. So I've heard of Zionists and stuff like that, but it's so, in my opinion and my perspective, it's so irrelevant to my life that I haven't had a reason to learn about what is what the supposed influences are. And so, okay, maybe that's ignorant. Maybe I'm naive. But at no point, the people that I find to be useful to listen to, because of the fact that they are honest and transparent about their biases, because they are able to connect dots that are there. And if you can predict the future, not by some clairvoyant bullshit, but looking at what is happening and drawing a conclusion of, okay, I see this happening. I think that's going to happen. If you can do that, you're someone I'm going to listen to. And again, Scorpion, nail on the head. If Kanye would have just been, oh, no, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about that. I think Tim would have been willing to have the conversation, push back, certainly. But we didn't get that opportunity. Ranks the protocols was protocolus. I don't know what that is. Was a joke. It's about truth as the Jews and their lies, but it is nice to see the 18th century Austrians right again tonight. All right. I don't know what any of that means. Adviner says, if I mention the Zionists, it would be any less offensive. No, it wouldn't be less offensive, but it would be way more understood. When have I personally in this stream been talking to you about being offended or not offended? Or I've been asking for an understanding, a clarification. You didn't bring up anything. You didn't bring up a Zionist until Scorpion did. So if this is the name of this whole thing, where was that? Scorpion goes on to say to Kanye, it would be relevant being someone in the spotlight and seeking to be a president that they wouldn't be able to control. So, Kanye, it would be relevant being someone in the spotlight and seeking to be a president they wouldn't be able to control. Well, again, if it's something that you can't control, are you talking about controlling the conspiracy or controlling his reaction? I'm not sure what you mean by that. So Adviner says, fair enough, brother. Do some research. It is a fascinating topic. Will do. And if you join the Discord, then you can feed them right to me. Failed Austrian painter was mostly right about everything. I don't know what that means either. Scorpion says, looks like he got impatient and figured he would be understood if they weren't already aware of it. That's why he seemed upset when he asked Tim, who is they? Completely agree. Completely agree. That impatience is the problem. I don't know if the ideology problem. The ideology may very well be the ideology that Fuentes and Ye and all them have might be something that I would agree with. I don't think so, but I don't know what it is. So the point of them being there is to teach people like me what is it that you are talking about. And again, Scorpion is on fire tonight. She is just, so controlling exactly. So if you can't handle that, if you can't handle talking about something, okay, then whatever's happened in your life or whatever you believe, fair. But don't expect my vote to be the leader of the biggest army in the world, the biggest military in the world. Don't expect my vote to give you the nuclear football. When somebody asks you a basic question about your ideology and you storm off like a child.
And to their internationalist cult.
Is this like when Jesus went into the temple and started flipping tables? Because he's like, you're fucking Jewish, but you're trying to make money off people?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be coming out saying the women are after him. Yo, it's women, man. It's women. Because the media is dominated by female. The journalists tend to be female. The Democrats tend to be female. So all that stuff that's coming out, I guarantee you, written by women. Hey, Kanye, you know who they are?
Where is he wrong? How does that not make more sense than the Jews? Listen to that again. That was fucking bars. That was fucking bars.
Yarmulke, the Ben Shapiro's of the world. Not at all. Their allegiance is to their own power and to their internationalist.
Is this like when Jesus went into the temple and started flipping tables? Because he's like, you're fucking Jewish, but you're trying to make money off people?
Yeah, you should be coming out saying the women are after him. Yo, it's women, man. It's women. Because the media is dominated by female. The journalists tend to be female. The Democrats tend to be female. So all that stuff that's coming out, I guarantee you, written by women. Hey, Kanye, you know who they are?
I think you were right when you were.
Now, that's also not a good argument. That is not a good worldview, in my opinion. Hey, we got Alex Pickus in the building. How are you doing, brother? We are just getting some updates on this whole Kanye Milo Timcast situation. Forgot what I was saying. I forgot what I was saying, but glad you're here, brother. Let me just back this up a second.
Democrats tend to be females. All that stuff that's coming out.
Oh, yeah. So he's saying that one more time, because it was just
Yo, it's women, man. It's women because the media is dominated by female. Journalists tend to be female. Democrats tend to be females. All that stuff that's coming out, I guarantee you, written by women. Hey, Kanye, you want to know who they are? Women. I think you were.
How does that make less sense than the Jews? That makes a lot more sense to me.
Right when you were saying that identity politics is bullshit. At one point, identitarianism or something.
Not completely.
There's a place for it.
Here's the other thing.
Right. I don't throw identity politics out the window completely. I'm saying identitarianism.
This is another big point. It's not necessarily about the Jews specifically. In this context, that was the topic of the conversation. But the core issue with this mentality is what Tim is about to talk about right here.
Here's the other thing.
I don't throw identity politics out the window completely. I'm saying identitarianism is a problem in a lot of ways. Identity politics in some ways are good.
Here's the thing. The biggest, most effective anti-immigration nationalist politician was Stephen Miller, who was Jewish. The biggest critic of Israel by far in the Senate is Bernie Sanders. So if you're going to make the argument that all Jews or powerful Jews all have the same worldview, you can't reconcile that with these two things.
I said before showing there might be this might be a bigger deal than I thought, is that the people that are doing this happen to be Jewish and they're trying to run the world's economics. They're just saying they're Jewish. They're just using that as a mask.
They're not even saying it. They're hiding from it.
They're betraying the faith with their actions. Like, is it against the faith?
Like,
you say you're not a scholar.
Look
not
at
a Jewish scholar.
look at Obama, right? Obama claims that when he was in university, he found Christ, and that's why he was proselytizing.
Stop the cap.
If you ask,
that's one I got to add to the soundboard. Stop the cap.
Christians, do you think Obama is someone who lives his life in a godly manner and who is someone who's sincere in his belief in Christianity, and that informs his worldview? I think most would say, okay, that's very much secondary to his vision of progressive.
Yup.
No, I was just looking up CEOs of.
I think so too. I think,
Guys, if you haven't already hit the like button, please. I'm 2 away from 15. Just let's get to that nice round number. Please.
it happens to be greedy people that are, maybe they're Jewish or not, I don't know, and then it's getting conflated. They're like, the Jews are the problem. We got to have this conversation publicly.
What he's being tricked into doing is saying, when he says Jewish people are after him, this is what I thought from a Lex Fridman episode, what I heard. That he was saying, there are people after me who happen to be Jewish. That was, so when that first came out, they said this stuff, I was like, was that what you're trying to say? Someone, I think it's online, somewhere people they're like, yeah, that's actually what he clarified.
And even on the podcast, and it seems though there are particular owners of particular media companies that happen to be Jewish that I'm angry with, and that's why he's the word they're Jewish.
So then he kept saying, who are they? And I was like, the corporate press. And he's like, I'm like, bro, I said this to him.
I'm very interested to hear your guys' answers on this poll.
This is why I think it's bullshit that he staged it. Because before the show, I said, Shane Smith, the billionaire CEO of Vice Media that is woke, leftist, writing smears about you. That dude's Irish from Canada. And he is a billionaire. Like, how do you explain he has all this power in media? He's the one that everyone, they were stuck in his stick. Disney, Hearst, all of these companies were going to Vice saying, please tell us how to run the show. And they gave Vice whatever they wanted. He's not Jewish. He's fucking insane.
You guys think we could have this
It is fucking insane.
conversation on YouTube?
Yeah.
Like, as we just,
I mean, I'm
minus
swearing.
a little bit less.
Swearing's not that
the
bad.
reason I can't have this conversation is because I can't win. So if I agree with something that one of these people says, then they like me and I'm a cool dude. But as soon as I say something that they disagree with, oh, should I know better? He's Jewish. So I don't have space to have my own opinion, except insofar as I see things as they do and agree with things as they do. So it's like there's no place for me to go.
You were saying you thought there.
That sounds very much like every other identitarian group that you have black people that have to be, you step out of line like a Candace Owens or a Jesse Lee Peterson or, go down the list of people who don't agree. Kanye, way before he was saying this stuff, you're cast out. Then you have the prevailing mainstream position. Well, that's what all black people think. With women, same thing. Muslims, same thing. So what is it about the Jews?
Be a reformation where you treat the religion of Judaism differently than the culture of Judaism. Thank you.
It's not a reformation, but I mean, this is a big conflict among Judaism, meaning like there are people who are nominally Jewish, but it doesn't inform their worldview at all. They use it as a shield when necessary, and it's like, what are you bringing to the table in terms of this informing who you are as a person?
Let's wrap it up there.
Let's do it.
Michael, it's always a blast having you around.
Next year in Jerusalem.
We're looking forward. Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Shalom,
I want to go to the wall, man. The Wailing Wall.
Yeah.
Feel that energy.
Yeah, right on. Talk to Taylor. Yeah. All right.
All right. So, probably saying most people prefer Ye to rap and not talk, and I am definitely one of those people. But if he's going to talk, I would like to hear it. Well, yeah, I prefer he's he definitely there is definitely aspects of mental health there, and that makes it really difficult to kind of what Michael Mouse was just saying about his he can't win in the conversation of Judaism, because either it's he's he's a I don't know what the terminology he used, but let's just use Zionist. He either he's a Zionist or like, oh, of course he thinks that because he is Jewish. But that is that's how people work. I mean, a lot of people fell for a Kardashian, but I kind of feel like that was a marriage of convenience. I think that Kanye is not it's not that I don't think he has a heart, but I don't think socially he looks at other people in terms of building relationships in the same way, especially by that time. Hey, we got I am in the building. Kanye is more black Hebrew Israelite. Is that what that means? Yeah, and gotcha. But yeah, she had obviously lots of money, lots of connections, and specifically in the fashion industry. So I kind of feel like that was just not much more than this. It's weird. So let's see. Let's go to the poll. So 70% of you think that most people would not inherently understand Kanye's position. So if that's the case, then that is precisely why he was in the wrong in terms of having a conversation to use that level of who is they as a reason to get up and say, I can't take this. Now, you're free. It's fucking America. You can get up and do whatever you want. But again, if you are asking for my vote for you to run the country and you can't have a civil conversation, then you are disqualified. And I think that's exactly what it was. It was. I think that was a fuck Kanye moment, because it just Pete Davidson. So I don't know, guys. We again, this is another stream where it's not about me telling you, hey, this is what I think, and this is why I believe you guys should adapt this thinking. Sometimes I do that, but a lot of times I do that, but that's not what this is. This is an exploration of something that is happening, a moment in time where there's a lot at play. You have the Republican Party, you have Trump, you have Kanye, you have the Judaism stuff, you have MILO being canceled and then coming back and not being gay anymore, but still liking men. Then you have Nick Fuentes tagging on to this. Then the fact that Destiny has been commenting on the situation along with everybody else. There's something happening, and so I am not sitting here preaching to you that I know what's going on. I'm giving you my conjecture. I'm giving you what I think and what I see based on my own experiences. And shout out again to Divining Rod for being willing to have the conversation and take some pushback. And shout out to Scorpion for being the number one person who helped me understand what it is that everybody's talking about. We would need that if Kanye had some balls and just had the conversation. Hey, we got Matthias in the building. What is good, brother? Said they want to keep people blinded on Zionism. If you were secretly a drug lord living in the middle of the ghetto, would you want everyone to know? Hell no. Fair play to you, sir. Yeah, I think that that's a good point, Matthias. Is it Matthias? I mean, I think I'm bad. I'm terrible with names. But that looks like it, so I apologize if not. But yeah, that's a good point. So they want to keep people secretly blinded by Zionism. So I get, obviously, if you were secretly a drug lord living in the middle of the ghetto, you wouldn't want everyone to know because they would want to come and take your shit. So what's the parallel? Matthias, my apologies. So Matthias, what is the parallel with they want to keep people blinded to being a drug lord because you don't want to get robbed. If you they want to keep it secret that you're a Zionist because that's the part I'm missing. I mean, yes, I am that I am. You are lost, but we are lost together, and that's okay. And there's no requirement to know everything in the world. You just don't need to know everything. There's a lot of things I know a lot about, and Zionism and anti-Semitism is just not one of them. But that's a good question to those of you. What exactly? Because if we're defining Zionist as somebody who supports the state of Israel, then that's a very valid question. If we're using Zionist as the term for the people in the cabal who are, these evil, these evil elites trying to, yeah, that's exactly this is the question. Real Zionism, which is I think we're calling real Zionism just being supporting of Israel, and the conspiracy one being that you believe that you're a black Hebrew Israelite. Matthias says, what I mean is Zionists pay the media and Hollywood to keep people dumb and knowing it. But why? Why? How is this analogous to the drug dealer living in the hood? Yeah, well, there's they go by many names. We can call them the powers that be. And yes, I definitely agree with you. Now that I'm understanding, what's going on here, and we're not talking about somebody who believes in the dogma and scripture of the Jewish religion. That makes a lot more sense. It doesn't really sound any more true, but internally, it is a lot more logical. The counterfeit signs are part of the cabal. Okay. Matthias says, I might be representing Zionists in the wrong shade. Well, you're in the club with everybody else. But why don't want? I get that. Why don't you want people to find out? Again, your analogy was being a drug lord in the hood. Obviously, you don't want people to find out. The question is why? In the case of a drug dealer, you don't want people to find out because they'll come and run your shit. In the case of Zionists, that's what I'm looking for. Ranking says Zionism, by definition, means supporting a Jewish home state. I'm right there with you, brother. I'm right there with you. War by deception. Okay. Yeah, and that's fine. So why don't we do this? I don't have anything else. We've been going for a little bit, but I really do want to learn about this. So if anybody wants to come up, then I have just dropped the link in the chat, And I would very much prefer if you would cam up, both for the safety of my channel as well as just the product itself. That would be ideal. But if you're not going to cam up, then the name that you put on the StreamYard, please make it the same name as YouTube, so I know that you're not just some random person. Yeah, I'm going with that. Me and Indie Film, we're going to be the anti-Scientologists. Public says Zionism is a neo-colonial movement. The state of Israel came at the expense of native Palestinians, and this was in 1948, not in the 1500s. We should have known better in 1948 than to jack some land that did not belong to us. Who's we? Who's we? Is this Ron Rod? Cheers to you, brother. Divine Rod is my number one fan, and I'm so appreciative that I cannot post anything on this platform without getting a like and a comment from Divine Rod. And if everybody could do half as much as Divine Rod does for me, then these parties would be hopping. So thank you so much. And I agree. Great chat. We're able to get heated and talk about this passionately and understand that we still boys. As a Scientologist, I believe play with them as well. That actually does make a lot of sense. So I am that I am says Publix is wrong, totally wrong. Okay, there has never been a nation of Palestine. Okay, all right. What was that? So what? Okay, so humans should have known better than to. I don't know if you know how like colonialism works and how people way before the 1900s, way before the 1500s, people would expand and go out into the world and colonize, and that was what it was. That is what it is. Like Russia just invaded Ukraine. Taiwan is having their independence issues with China. Are those equally as bad in the eyes of those of you who align with Kanye? And then Adam says, there's never been a nation of Palestine. It was owned by the Ottomans, then by the Brits. Never an independent nation of Palestine. So that makes sense to me that, okay, the Palestinians can be Christian or whatever they want to be. And then we have Israel that is for the Jews. There's one little spot in the whole fucking world. Why is that a problem? Maybe it is. I'm not saying it's not a problem. I'm asking why is it a problem? Well, it said, we as humans, the UN sanctioned the creation of modern Israel. Okay, so why is that a bad thing? It says, but what I mean is that if people knew the truth and woke up, the masses would easily take over an overthrow of sorts. I agree with you there. And so that's why I have a show here trying to know the truth. But it's very, very difficult to get it out of people who claim that they know that they know. Yeah, agreed. But you're saying, Divine Rod, that in the way that there was never a nation of these tribes, that it was. Well, okay. So are you trying to you give these half answers? You're giving me you're saying a thing, but you're not connecting it to the last thing you said or to the next thing that you're about to say. Okay. So there was never a Palestinian nation, and there was never a Apache Cherokee Blackfoot nation. Okay. And what is the point that you are trying to make? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm an introvert as well, so I definitely understand. But I don't know. My introversion comes in the sense of I love being in the chat because I don't have to talk. I don't have to be out there. But I mean, I appreciate you guys. And I know sometimes it's when we're watching a thing and I'm going off, there's not really much to say. But like I said, I really also want you guys to make friends with each other so that when we're hanging out at parties, maybe the conversation we have isn't your favorite thing, but you have fun hanging out and talking with the other people at the party, like a party. Pollock said, of course, but what led to the world wars? I argue it was carving out the colonies and the competition over markets. I don't disagree, but you are saying this as if it could have been it could have played out differently and still had. I mean, just look at, like, I mean, yeah, this is just. It would be nice if we lived in a universe with candies and rainbows and unicorns. Well, we do live in a world of unicorns, as we found out yesterday. But the horse version, if if that happened, that would be great. But that's not the world we live in. So I don't understand how I'm still trying to connect this to what it is that people believe about the Jews that are being called anti-Semitic, but actually aren't being anti-Semitic, because that's what I'm trying to get to. Because myself and very many other people, as you guys agree, with 70% of the poll saying that people would not understand where Kanye was coming from off rip. And so that makes it his responsibility. And by extension, those of you who agree and are saying these things, it's your responsibility to say, if everybody knew this, okay, well then let everybody know. Sub says that is incorrect. There was and is a nation of Palestine, whether you count the British mandate of Palestine or not. Oh, we got a little debate going on. Why don't you guys come up and hash it out? Carved out of what? Ottoman land? Yeah, I don't know. World history like that. Snowed in. Where do you live? Are you getting? Oh, I guess it is December already, eh? I said, I'm countering the no Palestinian nation. The people were still there. Look up the story about. Tell me the story about the. I am running a show right now. I can't look up things right now. If there's a story about a Palestinian situation called the General's Daughter, then tell me what is the point of that story. I don't need all the details and to type out the whole transcript. But what is the this is not argumentation. If you were writing a paper in college, then you wouldn't be able to just say, well, look in that book and hand that in. You have to explain the thing that you're using. All right. What is going on? We got I am in the building. What is going on?
Hello there, IndianJesus. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
No complaints. The only reason I came on, there really is no debate about this. There has never in history been a independent nation of Palestine. If I'm wrong, tell me a Palestinian leader prior to Yasser Arafat. I mean, I'm sorry. This is established facts. You cannot dispute this. And if they're going to start going by various books or this paper or a blog on the Facebook page, I mean, it's ridiculous. So I would love for any of the pro-Palestinian guys to come up and take their side, because look, the history and there's a lot of dicey stuff in there. I'm not saying either side is innocent, but the fact of the matter is the 1880 census had less than 500,000 people in what is today Israel, the territories, and Jordan. Less than 500,000 people. There are over 13 million people in Israel and the territories. So it was, for the most part, barren. Second point, it was Ottoman. And then the Brits fought them. Brits won. And so then they won the Middle East. they had made a deal with some of the Jews, and so some emigrated there. And by the time you get to once World War II ended, the Jews lost a third of their people. They weren't going to give two shits anymore what people thought about them. They had had enough. And I mean, I can't really blame them on that.
Yeah, it makes sense. And so it seems like you and I are closely aligned in our lack of understanding of what the argument even really is. But it sounds like you know a lot more about this than I do. So since none of the people who are talking about this stuff are willing to come up, can you do your best to try to steelman what it is that they are saying?
It looks the way that this is the way that I see it. If you go back prior to the turn of the century, you had Zionists that were making deals with the legal landowners of the land of what at that time was the territory of Palestine. And they were buying chunks of land from the legal landowners. Now, this is historic fact. I am sure that there was a little issues that were going on back and forth, but for the people defending the Palestinian side to say that they were in fact innocent, look, I could point to a lot of different events that are indisputable. And the one thing that I've noticed with the Palestinian argument, they're going to say, well, these were Europeans. Well, I could point you to the Hebron massacre of 1929, where Arabs killed 67 Mizrahi Jews. Now, these are Middle Eastern Jews.
Okay.
These were Jews that lived there for generations, century after century. These were not Ashkenazi Jews. These were Middle Eastern Jews. The Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, he was best friends with Adolf Hitler and wanted a final solution to the Mideast Jews. This is established fact. You could see pictures of the Grand Mufti and Hitler side, working together. The Grand Mufti also recruited Bosnian and Croatian Muslims to join the SS. So
wow.
If you were
So
Jews,
let's sorry to interrupt you, but let's before we get too far down the road, stop animal murder. Stop animal murder and torture has a question. Said that you said a deal was made, and what deal was that? So I think earlier on, before I asked you, the main question you were just answering, you said that there was a deal made.
If he's talking about the deal prior to the turn of the century,
he said this guy said the Jews. This guy's name.
Yeah,
he has a name, and I am that I am. So I am that I am said that the Jews bought the land, and
now
so
this is
Stop,
right.
So Stop is asking for what that deal was.
Okay, this is what it was. The people that were living on Palestinian land were not the legal landowners. The legal landowners were actually in the Ottoman Empire.
Okay.
And so you had, Theodore Herzl and a bunch of the other Zionists went to the legal landowners and said, we'd like to purchase this stuff. And so they bought it. Now, I'm not saying all the land that is current day Israel was purchased at that point. There was stuff that was won in a war. But initially, that is what had happened. That's where the kibbutzes started and all that other stuff. So, whether you like it or not, this is historic fact. If you have a problem with it, then I would suggest that you go back and you find out why did the Turks sell the land to the Jews. And if you're going to just just also a little tidbit about the Turks or the Ottomans, these were the same pieces of garbage that decided that they were going to kill over 1 million Armenians. So these are hardly hardly innocent people there.
Yeah, the Young Turks know all about that.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, actually, I think Anna's relatives have to be turning over in their grave
yeah,
for her
exactly.
I mean, sort of like a Jew working on a show called The Third Reich. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense.
So what you're saying about, if you have an issue, then go back to the Ottoman Empire and take it up with them. That makes a lot of sense to me, because it sounds like a lot of the issues that people have, like, oh well, this happened and that happened and that happened, are looking at the events that happened and acting as if, or thinking that these events were unique to this situation, unique to Judaism, unique to Israel, unique to the this whole Jewish, Black Israel, that stuff, where it seems like that's just the way the world works. People take over shit.
Correct. And whoever stopped animal murder, torture, whatever the hell, is he an American citizen or is he a Canadian citizen?
I don't know. Stop animal murder, torture. Are you?
Yeah. And by the way, those are Native Americans, not Indians. Indians are from India. Yeah.
So like the U.S. bought Manhattan from some American Indians. It's illegitimate. Is it though? Because I'm pretty sure that there is a specific place called Manhattan, that if you ask to Google to bring you to Manhattan, it's going to bring you to New York City. So what does illegitimate actually mean? It is what it is. Like this, are you really trying to argue that Manhattan is not a thing?
And are you American?
Yeah, that's another question we have.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling this person is American, and I seriously doubt they're willing to give back their home to the Native Americans. So, spare me.
Bars. And yeah, so Divine Ron said the Dutch bought Manhattan. Okay, again,
$24.
That's a thing. Okay, but I that doesn't help move the conversation along. So the Dutch bought Manhattan, and that is relevant because Divine Ron. That's what I need. So Frankie, again, a great point. Frankie and Scorpion been on point tonight. So wait, people cannot sell the land they own? That makes it illegitimate? Sounds like that's what people have an issue with. Is just the world working the way the world works. Now, again, I said if we're living in the candy and rainbows world where nobody has to do that and everybody has space, then great. But the fact is that resources are limited. There's only so much space, and as the population continues to grow, then people need to go places. Mathia says, I love how they went after Sam Hyde for being toxically masculine nonsense. Yet years prior tried Pippin. I don't know who that is. I know who Sonnet is, but that's not really relevant here. So Publix is Canadian. We are apologizing for the things we did, kidnapping children, putting them in.
Oh, that's nice. So you're going to apologize. If I'm not mistaken, there was a school filled with Native Americans that were killed and buried, and nobody knew about it for about 100 years. But you apologize, so I guess that makes everything fine. Got it.
So again, you say it's not. So you're saying Manhattan is not a place. Is that your claim? And are you American?
Funny, it doesn't want to answer that question, huh?
This is why I can constantly talk about stop trying to win the argument and just have the conversation. We're just having a conversation. But you want to dip and dodge around to try to win your battle. This isn't a battle. Nobody's battling. I'm here saying I don't know what the fuck is going on. Do you guys know? That's what this is. Yes, it is what it is. It's not a great point, just to ignorant people.
What point is this individual saying?
That Manhattan is illegitimate and belongs to indigenous peoples.
Okay, so a transaction that took place 400 years ago needs to be reversed.
According to Stop, who thinks might makes right? I don't think that it should, but absolutely might makes right. That's what power is. That's what politics is. Is if you have more might, then you get to impose your whatever it is that you want. Is that again? That is not the candy and rainbows universe that I think we would be better off in. But it is what it is. Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
you see, no, this is an American. I can see it. This is definitely an American that wants to say, "Do as I say, not as I do," because I seriously doubt this person is going to give their home back. It's unbelievable. Oh, now we're going to pull the racist card.
Yep.
You know, just for that, let's see. I take it you're a vegan, so I think I'm going to have myself a little bit of steak right now, just in your honor.
All right.
Parasitic vegan bastards.
Scorpion, who are you agreeing with on this one? Stop goes on to say, notice the capitalist nature adherence. Yeah, because there's no people who are capitalists who aren't white. Like, I don't know. Who are we just talking about all day? Kanye West. Oh, he's black. He's, whatever it is that you are saying. He's with all the shit that you're talking about.
You know
He
what's interesting?
Right? He hates capitalism.
And no, because apparently skin tone is a big driver in America. But maybe this person can give me could fill me in on some details. Why is it that Asian Americans out earn everybody? Number two are Indian Americans. And why is it that blacks from the Caribbean and Africa economically outperform whites in America?
Jamaican and Trinidadian here. What we doing? Exactly. Because it's not a race issue. It is a culture issue. And we were, in the Discord after party panel. I was talking to Trey about this exact thing. About and I mean, this is slightly an aside from what we're actually talking about, but the adherence to needing to attach yourself to quote unquote the black community, I think is something that hurts a lot of black people. And it's just bring it all back to the same thing that we've been talking about. That identitarianism leads to all these fucky mentalities. Individualism doesn't. Yeah, agree. I agree there, and we won't give you hate for being vegan because
yes, but I like her because she's a nice vegan.
She's nice, and she is answering questions directly and providing a lot of helpful information. Stop says the capitalist adherence wants my nationality, then says you pulled the race card.
No, that's not the reason I did that.
First of all, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, the reason this individual is looking to criticize Israel for doing what they're doing and saying oppressing Palestinians, et cetera, yet this person lives in America. And if you really want to go over the treatment of Native Americans, we could do that. But of course, that would make you look like a hypocrite, which I have exposed you 100% for being. So now you're looking to run. You're looking to do a song and dance because you're afraid.
And so when Stop says, so he pulls the nationalist card and then complains someone getting back to him about race. Yes, because we were talking about nationalism, not racism. Nobody talked about the aspect of skin color being the core of this. We were talking about your ideology and whether black people are Jewish. That was the conversation, and specifically, what we were just talking about was Israel itself. And you didn't have an answer. You said, "Well, that sounds like you're a white person doing white people shit." Okay, great argument.
How dare you?
Thea says, I hate when people whine and complain about colonization and stolen land. Me too. Yet they live in that very world, and it benefits them every fucking day. He said friggin', I'm gonna say fucking. I don't know what that is. Going to you think that race is not when
No.
did anybody say that? When did anybody say that?
I'm just curious. Oh, ignorance.
Don't think so.
Yeah. Expose your
Just take the
ignorance.
L. Just take the L. Just take the L. That's all right. It's okay. There's a lot of shit here that I didn't know about. There's a lot of shit that I continue to not fully understand here, and that's okay. That's okay. We're like I said, we're gonna be following this. We're not, I'm not like Friday show is not gonna be about this unless something huge comes out. But we are gonna be following this, and we're gonna see where it goes. So if you're right, then you will get your. I will get my comeuppance. You'll be able to get all those bragging rights. So
No, he's not going to get squat. I mean, look at him. He's still doing the, he's doing an old song and dance. He still can't answer a thing, and he's still going by the mantra: "Do as I say, not as I do." It's unbelievable. He doesn't even know the point that he's arguing.
Nope. I just said status quo. I have not said status quo in the last week. So no freedoms can get $1,000 for whatever I said. He can screenshot and putting words in my mouth. And you now have an additional offer of $1,000 where I said that I am pro status quo, so I like the status quo. Because you said, I just said it, right? Which one of us is up here on running a show talking about these controversial issues to try to understand them better? Is it me or is it you? Oh, that's right. It's me. Okay. What L did I take? It's not an L to say, no, I don't know everything in the world. Here's a topic that I would like to talk about, and I don't really know. What L is it that I'm holding? I'm telling you, take the L. Just take the L. So
The boy is getting spanked.
It's not looking good for you. And so I am going to have a little mercy on you. So I am that I am. Thank you so much for coming up. You really cleared up a lot of things, and this is the cope. Because why would I come on the internet and talk about something that I don't know what I'm talking about? One on Twitch, because Twitch is a fucking dumpster fire of liberal losers like you. Oops. Anyway, thank you so much for coming up. I am that I am. If you have any socials, if you have a channel, anything, the floor is yours. Tell the people what you want them to know.
No, I don't. I mean, this is something I just use for entertainment purposes, and I guess you'll see me pop in every now and then. I find your channel quite refreshing and interesting.
Well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. So, I am that I am will be in the comments. I definitely think you should join our Discord server.
Okay.
We have a lot of conversations after every show. We go right over there and trolls and stuff. So I used to try to do the panels up here, but everybody would try and troll and nobody would come up. So now we go over to Discord, and we have our voice channel room where we are doing exactly this, but we don't have to worry about the YouTube bullshit or anything like that. So all of you, the link for the Discord is in the description.
I have to make one list, and this is with public. I'm trying to read his comment that doesn't really make any sense.
Publix.
Yeah, this.
So it says we cannot move backward. It's talking to Matthias. We cannot move backwards, but we can move forward with lessons learned. Taking land and occupying it will lead to resentment. See Iraq, Ukraine, Israel. Humans are slow learners. But what is there to be learned? There's what is the alternative when there is more people and there are conflicting values? What is the alternative? You are saying this as if there is a way for human history to unfold without war.
the examples he gave, they really don't connect in any way. Iraq is a combination of Shiite and Sunni Muslims with a bunch of Kurds that don't particularly like each other. Truthfully, they would have been able to break into three separate countries. If this person knew anything about the Ukraine and Russia, that's been a battle going back and forth literally since the 9th century. And so even though they are brothers, they have been fighting brothers, and it's been going on for over 1,000 years. And regarding Israel, you realize the Israelis have nowhere else to go. So they're going to fight like hell for their homeland. And I think they've proven that not only are they willing to do it, they're also really good at doing it. They ain't going nowhere. So I don't really understand what this person is talking about. I mean, slogans and
sorry. Hey, Public saying he's gonna join the Discord. Awesome. I will see you over there, brother or sister or whatever. I don't know. Sorry. Well, you're saying.
All right. Yeah. I mean, so I don't know what you you have a lot of people that are really good at, screaming slogans, free Palestine and bullshit like that. But if you take a look at what's being accomplished, let's just say this BDS, which I'm imagining a few of these people are probably proponents of, which is also a laughable 16-year failure.
What is BDS?
And if truthfully, and if you're a proponent of BDS, you should stop.
What is BDS?
Boycott, divestment, and sanctions against Israel. So don't buy or use any Israeli products. This becomes problematic, especially people on the internet, because there is not a smartphone, iPad, or computer that does not have Israeli technology nor patents attached to it. Okay?
Bars.
Oh, BDSM? That could be another
yeah,
show.
not quite. No, a little different.
Yeah.
But so this is awesome. I hope that you will join us over in Discord. I want to bring this conversation over there so we don't have to dance around stuff. Thank you so much for coming up to hang out. And
just one question: how do I join Discord?
So the link is in the description. So just click the link, and then you just need either a phone number or an email. And then you'll be in the server. And I can help you within Discord from there if anybody needs help. But you want to look for the voice and video chat channel. And I will see you guys over there. So thank you. I am that I am. I was gonna say have a good night, but I'll see you soon.
Okay, take care, man.
So there is a lot of stuff that I don't know about this, obviously. But I'm not claiming to know it. I'm looking to understand, and I think that if you want to decide that I've bought all this equipment, I've spent 3.5 hours of my time to pretend to care about something, then the fact that you would think that is something that people do is really kind of an odd projection. Like, I'm not going to do that. So if you don't believe that I am genuinely here trying to learn, then okay, then I don't know what else to tell you. But we are learning. And of course, nobody is here from Twitch because Twitch sucks. Whereas plenty of people here from YouTube. We got 77 views just live. So don't know what to tell you. Matthias has to head out. Thank you so much for hanging out, brother. I hope I will see you in the Discord. Maybe if not even tonight, then in the future. So I just seen Publix in the welcome message. Yeah, I will be over in the voice channel in just a moment. So, like I said, this isn't going to be this channel isn't going to become the what happens with Kanye, what happens with Milo channel. That's not what's going to happen. I just think that there's a thing happening. I don't know what, but I think there is a thing happening. So I want to continue to follow it. And whenever something comes up, then we'll talk about it. And if anything that I've said here shows glaring, naivete, then please come to the Discord and school me. You will find that I am very open to that. You will find that I am not looking to argue. I am not looking to battle. I am looking to learn and to understand. So if that's something that is amenable to you, then that is where you can find me 24/7. The party rages on. But even if you're not there, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out here. Especially Matthias coming through, Scorpion making all of this make sense. Divine and Rod being willing to engage. All of you guys. I really appreciate it. Every single second that you spend here means a lot to me. So the only thing else I have to ask you to do, if you have not already, please hit that like button and that subscribe button and the bell. That's all free. You can do that for free. If you got a little extra coin, we're not quite monetized yet. And I just bought an entire new system to make sure I can give you guys the best product that can come. So if you want to help support the channel, you can hit me up, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, TheIndianJesus. But like I said, you don't have to do any of that. Even if you just want to sit at home and think about how great I am and how awesome this channel is, that would be perfectly fine too. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the party. I am your host, Lutch, a.k.a. The Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, or until right now in Discord, I am out of here. Peace.